I finally taught Kylada a lesson, Marty said with a satisfied grin. Just thinking about his pathetic face makes me happy. Jason's expression darkened with purpose. It's not enough. We need to make this burn. One strike to knock Kylada off his pedestal for good. Galady leaned forward. And what exactly do you have in mind? To deal with someone as vile as Kylada, we'll have to play dirty. Jason's lips curled into a wicked smile, one that left no doubt he'd made up his mind. The next morning, Jason and his companions were summoned to the main hall of the castle. Don sat upright in the city lord's seat, his presence imposing, sharp with authority. The night's rest had done him good. His aura now radiated calm power. Kylada, he said, his voice echoing through the chamber. From among the gathered crowd, Kylada stepped forward and bowed. Uncle, I'm here. Please speak. What happened yesterday may not have been grave in itself, Don said, voice stern. Young men make mistakes, it's natural. But as a city lord, your actions carry weight. You've embarrassed the family. While I'll spare your life, punishment is inevitable. Are you willing to accept it? Kylada hesitated, then nodded. Yes, I accept. Good. That's the kind of resolve I expect from a member of the Ryan family. Don gestured to the guards. Bring the girl in. Yes, my lord. The soldiers left quickly. The crowd murmured, trying to guess what Don was planning. Is Lord Don going to apologize to that girl? Apologize? Don't be absurd. Marty tapped Jason on the shoulder. Third bro, what do you think he's planning? Shuh. Galady hissed. Don't call him that here. Lord Don has sharp ears. You want to get us in trouble? Marty flinched and glanced nervously at Don, who seemed unaware. He let out a sigh of relief. Jason chuckled. Relax. I told you it's fine. My father's not so petty. If anything happens, I'll take responsibility. See? Villian grinned. Even Jason doesn't mind. Why would Lord Don? Still, we should be cautious, Galady said. There are always people watching and waiting to twist words. The doors opened. Mira stepped into the hall, escorted by soldiers. She bowed respectfully. Lord Don. No need for formality, Don said gently. I called you here to ask, would you be willing to marry my nephew? What? Kylada's eyes widened in disbelief. Uncle, surely you jest. This woman is nothing more than a prostitute. Think of the family's dignity. Don's eyes narrowed. The dignity you ignored when you got her pregnant? You dare speak of shame now. But we don't even know if the child is mine. Enough. Don's voice thundered. A man must have courage and take responsibility. The decision is made. As Don turned to leave, Mira suddenly knelt. Please, Lord Don, she cried. Don't force me to marry him. He's cruel, a monster. Life with him would be unbearable. You wretched woman. Kylada snarled. That's enough. Don snapped. Speak to her like that again, and you'll learn what suffering truly is. Kylada trembled with rage, veins bulging on his forehead. His fists clenched, knuckles white with fury. Mira turned her eyes to Jason, silently begging for help. Jason stepped forward. Cousin, if you've done the deed, be a man and own it. You're disgracing yourself by trying to run from it. Kylada shot Jason a murderous glare. Jason Lane, I'll remember this. Jason smirked. Oh, don't worry. I got an even better gift for you coming soon. Kylada narrowed his eyes. What are you plotting? You'll see soon enough. Jason turned and approached Malifaux, handing him a folded note discreetly. Lord Malifaux, you're standing at a crossroads. Seize your moment. Malifaux glanced at the note. His expression stiffened, sweat forming along his brow. Whatever Jason had written, it was going to change everything. Malifaux's face turned pale as he read the note Jason handed him. A shiver ran down his spine. His mouth twitched, but no words came. My lord, Jason said smoothly, his voice low, do you trust me now, or Kylada? Malifaux didn't respond immediately, still stunned. Jason was satisfied. This was exactly the reaction he'd anticipated. What evidence do you have? Malifaux finally asked, guarded yet shaken. Jason leaned in with a sly smile and whispered, you of all people should know how far gold can go. And when a dog is cornered long enough, it bites. They've been pushed for too long. Now they're ready to explode. I'm just handing them the spark. Tell me, if you were them, what would you do? Malifu's breath caught. Jason's confidence was unsettling and persuasive. Slowly, the scales in his heart began to tip. Across the hall, Dawn noticed the quiet exchange. Jason, he called, eyes narrowing. What are you whispering about with Lord Malifaux? Jason straightened up and smiled. Nothing serious, my lord. Just that Lord Malifaux has something urgent he wants to confess. With that, Jason gave Malifaux a subtle nudge toward the center of the hall. Malifaux stammered, caught off guard by the sudden spotlight. Lord Malifaux, Dawn said, voice sharp. What is it you wish to confess? Even Kylida looked confused, shooting Malifaux a questioning glance. Malifaux's eyes flicked toward Kylida, then away. His body tensed. The room fell into uneasy silence, everyone waiting for him to speak. Suddenly, the doors slammed open. Report, a soldier shouted, rushing in. What is it? Dawn asked. A large crowd has gathered outside the castle. They're demanding to see you, my lord. They say it's urgent. Malifaux's eyes widened. He dropped to his knees. Please, Lord Dawn, let me speak first. It's important. Dawn raised a hand, signaling the soldier to hold. Very well. Speak. It was Kylida. Malifaux began, his voice shaking. He secretly altered the tax collection laws in Sagos, changing the poll tax from once a quarter to once a month. He kept the excess for himself. What? Dawn shot to his feet, disbelief washing over his face. It's true, Malifaux continued, quickly finding his courage. Haven't you noticed how many citizens have abandoned Sagos lately? They're fleeing to the countryside. Life there is no longer bearable. What Malifaux didn't say, of course, was that he had helped Kylida orchestrate the entire scheme. You snake! Kylida roared, his face twisting in fury. In a flash, he unsheathed a dagger, his aura erupting around him. But Jason was faster. Clang! He drew his saber, just in time to intercept Kylida's blade. Stand down, Jason said calmly, though his eyes were locked with Kylida's, cold as steel. Kylida! Dawn bellowed, slamming his hand on the table. What are you doing? Jason gently pushed Kylida's dagger arm down. Come on, cousin. Don't be reckless. You traitor, Kylida hissed. You'll pay for this. With a swift motion, he swung his dagger again, this time at Jason. Jason's perception flared, and he dodged easily, hands still behind his back. Kylida kept pressing, the blade glowing with a yellow aura, striking like flashes of lightning. Gasps filled the hall. The audience held their breath as Kylida unleashed over a dozen furious strikes, none of which landed. How? That's impossible. Kylida stepped back, shocked. You're only a D rank. No one should be able to dodge that. Just then, Ra, Marty barreled in, his body glowing with armed aura, and slammed into Kylida like a charging beast. Boom! Kylida flew back and hit the ground hard. Before he could recover, soldiers pinned him down, spears pointed at his throat. Kylida, Dawn said, his voice full of cold disappointment. I trusted you. And this is how you repay me? Stealing from the very people you were sworn to protect. Kylida clenched his jaw and lowered his gaze. He knew it was over. Effective immediately, Dawn declared. Kylida is removed from his post as Lord of Sagos. Imprison him. He will await judgment. Yes, my lord. The soldiers dragged him away. Jason couldn't hide his satisfaction. The plan had worked perfectly. My lord. Marty stepped forward and bowed. With Kylida dismissed, shouldn't we appoint someone to take over Sagos? A city can't go without leadership for long. Dawn nodded. Do you have someone in mind? Marty smiled and glanced at Jason. I suspect you already do. Dawn followed his gaze. Jason stood quietly, his eyes locked with Dawn's, a hopeful smile playing on his lips.
Hey, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy our audiobooks, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, feel free to share your review in the comments section below.
Boy, what's so funny? Dawn glanced at Jason and said, Nothing, nothing. Jason immediately put away his smile. My lord, what about the people outside the castle? The soldiers on one side asked Dawn. Take me there and let me see what they have. Dawn said and took the lead to walk out of the hall. The soldiers immediately ran to Dawn to lead the way. Ma Li Fu, who confessed, felt relieved for a while. Anyway, he had pushed the scapegoat away. Master Jason, the position of City Lord is now vacant. You are the one with the best chance. Would you like me to give you some good words? Malifu smiled and came to Jason's side to please Jason. Hearing Malifu's words, Jason smiled faintly and couldn't help sighing in his heart. Malifu really didn't waste his cunning appearance. Master Malifu, you really scared me just now. You actually made such a big news. Really, you are going to be in trouble now, and you have offended Bud and his son. Jason shook his head and said, Master Jason's words are wrong. Don't you also offend Bud and his son by doing so? We are now a united front. Malifu offered an olive branch to Jason. But being on the same front as you seems to be only good for you, sir. It doesn't seem to be good for me, so why should I? Jason spread his hands and said to Malifu, My lord said this. How can it be of no benefit to you? I have a lot of secrets about the bard and his son, and you probably don't know my other nickname? Malifu said to Jason with a smile. Oh, what magical powers do you have? Do you have horns on your head or a tail behind you? Jason teased Mariford. I'm dissatisfied with Master Jason, but I actually still serve a secret intelligence organization, Black Crow. Malifu didn't take Jason's teasing at all. Black Crow. Jason frowned and looked at the well-informed Galade, wanting to see if Galade knew what this Black Crow was. Black Crow is the most well-informed intelligence organization on the continent of Cardeas. Their personnel are located all over Cardeas. They use the method of exchanging information to ensure that everyone can enjoy all places on the entire continent. To obtain information, you only need to hand over the information you possess to the secret leader of their organization by means of Black Crows, and it won't take long before you can get the information from all over the continent that is also sent back by Black Crows. Garati roughly explained to Jason what the Black Crow organization meant. Amazing. That's equivalent to the internet. Jason sighed. The internet? Everyone looked at Jason in bewilderment. Don't care about this small detail. Don't care. Jason perfunctory, everyone. I'm a member of the Black Crow. If Master Jason is willing to protect me, I can share my resources with you unconditionally and help you get rich. Malifu said to Jason with sincerity. Seeing that you want to follow me so much, then I am too embarrassed to refuse, so I will reluctantly agree. Although Jason still doesn't quite understand the Black Crow organization, he feels that this organization still sounds useful. At least in this world where communication is inconvenient, intelligence is sometimes very important. No. Mr. Jason, you really want to make a mistake. Malifu shook his finger and said to Jason, What went wrong? Jason stared at Malifu and asked, I don't want to follow you. I want to cooperate with you. We are a cooperative relationship, not a master-servant relationship. Malifu said to Jason. He could see that Jason was very interested in his Black Crow, so he spoke forcefully. You ball man, you can't even protect yourself, and you still want to negotiate conditions with us? You don't know what's good or bad. Marty rushed over and grabbed Malifu by the collar and said to him that Marty couldn't help getting angry because he couldn't understand Malifu's proud look in front of Jason. It doesn't matter. In fact, I'm not afraid of Bud and his son. Now that Kelida is imprisoned, Bud will definitely not be willing to kill me. In fact, my life is not in danger. At most, I will suffer some torture. That's all. Bard feels reluctant to give up on me, the Black Crow. If I didn't want to suffer the physical pain, and I'm attracted by Master Jason's magical ability, I wouldn't talk to you so much. Malifu said confidently. Jason looked at Malifu in disbelief. They thought that Malifu, who knew that he was a dog, had such a side. If this continent wants to stand firm, there's still a lot to learn. Okay, I promise you your terms. Marty let him go. Jason heard from Malifu's words that Malifu might have known his secret, but he didn't know if he had passed the news to other Black Crows. Just in case, Jason still felt that he should stabilize him first. Cooperate with me. Master Jason, you will never regret it. Malifu said with a smile on his face and left the hall. I didn't expect that this continent is really full of crouching tiger, hidden dragon, After Malifaux left, Jason said to himself, "If he is really a crow, then I think it is not impossible for us to cooperate with him." Galady expressed his opinion. "What's the use of black crows and white ducks, making you pay so much attention to it?" Marty asks Galactic Road. "The power of the Black Crow is beyond our imagination. The Black Crow organization has a history of hundreds of years. They only care about money and nothing else. Moreover, they are also the richest organization on the continent, and no one knows their leader so far. Who it is, where their headquarters are, no one knows." Galady explained to Marty. "It's so awesome. Why haven't I heard of it?" Maddie said in disbelief. "Do you know what the current royal family name is?" Galady gave Marty a white look and asked him, "Okay, I haven't seen the world, can I?" Marty walks away with a look of embarrassment. "Ha ha ha, don't keep targeting my second brother." Jason smiled and said to Galady, "That's right, this fellow Galady will embarrass me, knowing that I am a child of a poor family with little knowledge." Hearing that Jason was speaking for him, Marty immediately came to Jason and said as if he had found an organization, "Is my second brother a bit stupid soon? But he is so cute." Jason suddenly hooked back and continued to tease Marty. "Ha ha ha." As soon as Jason said this, everyone laughed, and only Marty was even more embarrassed. "What makes you all so happy?" Dawn walked in with Martin and saw Jason and the others happier than the other, so he asked, "I've seen Lord Dawn." Kylida and others immediately saluted Dawn one by one after seeing him. "Well, you don't need to be too polite." Dawn asked several people in a very easygoing manner. "No, we're just kidding around. What are those people doing around the castle?" Jason came to Dawn with a smile and asked, "It's okay, they just came here to welcome me and welcome me to Sagos." Dawn said in a daze he didn't understand why these people didn't come to welcome him on the day he came, and it took 2 days to come to welcome him. This shows that Father is loved by the people. Jason laughed and praised Dawn. "Okay, what did your kid's mouth become so poor?" Dawn said to Jason with an angry face. "This is a good thing. It shows that the young master is becoming more and more sensible now. You should feel relieved, my lord." Seeing Jason's change from before, Martin was also happy for Dawn. "Thank you, Mr. Martin, for your compliment. I will definitely not disappoint your expectations." Jason saluted Martin and said, "Will not live up to our expectations? What do you start with this?" Dawn asked Jason with a smile. Jason couldn't help laughing. From the way my father and Lord Martin looked at me just now, I can already sense what Father and Lord Martin are thinking. When Jason spoke, a confident smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. The look in his eyes just now is almost the same as the look in his last life when the leader was about to give him a promotion in the company. "Oh, then tell me what you have seen." After listening to Jason's words, Dawn walked to the seat of the city lord with great interest and sat down. "Father, don't worry, I will definitely manage Sagos well." Jason turned around to face Dawn and knelt directly on the ground. "Hee, the young master is really different now. He has learned to read words and expressions and try to figure out other people's thoughts." Martin looked at Jason with appreciation in his eyes, as if he had already seen the powerful Ryan family in the future. "Since you have already guessed it, I will not hide it from you, but I can't hand over Sagos to you now, because I still don't trust you. Yes, I will let Master Martin stay and help you manage Sagos. You are the city lord on the surface, but when it comes to important decisions, Master Martin is the decision maker. Do you understand?" Dawn said to Jason, "Understood. Just hand over the city of Sagos and New Ada to me. I'm also afraid that I will not handle it well. It is really great to let Master Martin stay and help me, so that I can follow Master Martin and learn a lot." It should be because Jason has always had a good impression of Martin, so Jason also readily accepted Dawn's decision. "It's really great that you can think like this. Then go and have a good rest today. There are still many things to deal with in Zorn City. I will organize the coronation ceremony for you tomorrow, and I will leave." Dawn said to Jason, "Yes, Father, you also need to take a good rest today, so I will retire first." Jason said to Dawn, and left with Galady and others. After Jason and the others left, Dawn put away the smile on his face and became melancholy. "I think, my lord, You were thinking about Kylida? Martin walked slowly to Dawn's side and asked Dawn, "What do you think I should do with this kid?" Dawn rubbed his head and asked Martin. This Kylida was originally a very good seedling, and he was decisive in doing things, but unfortunately, he was as ambitious as his father. Otherwise, it would be too. Martin sighed. I really don't want to let the things of the previous generation happen to our generation. Dawn said with some exhaustion. But this is not something you can decide on your own, and you can't help but deal with him. Martin said to Dawn anxiously, this is one of Dawn's strengths, and it is also one of his fatal flaws. He places too much emphasis on friendship. In fact, as long as Bard can manage the southern border well, I don't care. As long as the southern border is still in the hands of our Ryan family, it doesn't matter whether I am the king of the southern border. Dawn said lightly what was in his mind. But Bud can't do it. If he becomes the king of the southern border, I think the people in the southern border will be ruined. Martin persuaded Dawn. Okay, let's talk about these things later. Dawn left the hall a little annoyed. Early the next morning, Jason came to the hall full of excitement. The hall is already full of people. After a ritual process, Dawn personally brought Jason the golden badge that Jason dreamed of, representing the identity of the city lord. Jason has been looking forward to this moment for a long, long time, and from now on, his adventure in Cardeas continent will really begin. Dawn also finished Jason's coronation ceremony, and after discussing with an official, he decided to sentence Kylida and decided to imprison him in the dungeon for 2 years. After hastily resolving the Sagos matter, Dawn also left Martin behind and left Sagos with the team and rushed back to Zorn City. Jason waited for a group of people to stand at the gate of Sagos and watch Dawn's team leave before getting up and going back. Congratulations. I didn't expect you to be the city lord before I had time to give you a good word, my lord. What a joy to congratulate. On the way back, Malifu came to Jason's side and said to Jason, this is also due to you. Thanks to you for pointing out Kelida's crime, I was able to reluctantly take the position. Jason said to Malifu with a smile. Anyway, the trick you used to kill people with a borrowed knife is really good. It captured my psychology and took advantage of me. After knowing that those people came to Dawn not to report to Dawn about their tax increase, Malifu was quite convinced, but the matter has come to this point, he can only make a mistake. Master Malifu, you changed really quickly. You were like that when you were with Kylida, but you have become like this when you are with me. Now I really don't know what kind of person you are. What kind of person? Jason looked at Malifu and said with emotion, you don't need to know what kind of person I am. You just need to know what good I will bring you, don't you? Malifu revealed an unfathomable expression as he spoke. You don't need to know what kind of person I am. You just need to know what good I will bring you, don't you? Malifu revealed an unfathomable expression as he spoke. I hope so. After Jason said that, he sped up and walked away. Lord City Lord, what do you want to do first? Marty asked Jason. What to do? Inform Malifu, OG. Call a council meeting. Jason said with a smile. After Jason returned to the castle, he naturally moved into the room where the city lord lived. This room, in the center of the castle, has a huge balcony and is flooded with light. Jason came to the balcony, which had an unobstructed view of Sagos. Jason took a deep breath of fresh air. This room is more than twice as big as mine. This is the difference between the first and second place. Jason turned his head to look at the environment in this room with a satisfied face. The breeze was blowing, not to mention how comfortable it was. What a beautiful balcony. I like it so much. Wei Lian also ran to the balcony with a look of enjoyment. Villian, don't be rude. Martin looked at Wei Lian, who had no rules, and scolded her. Master Martin, don't worry. In my opinion, I prefer this way of getting along, rather than a clear distinction between master and servant. Jason said to Martin, I didn't expect you to be so informal. I believe Sargos will get better and better under your management. Martin said to Jason loyally, that is, our third brother has never regarded us as his servants, but as brothers. Marty came over and said to Martin, being a brother? Today's Jason makes Martin look at him with admiration. Is this still the same arrogant and domineering Jason who only knows how to eat, drink, and have fun? It's like a completely different person. Of course, you say yes, third brother. As Wei Lian said, she jumped up and hugged Jason's shoulders. Villian, even if the city lord is informal, you are a girl after all, so be careful. Martin rushed over and pulled Villian over, yelling, Okay, Sir Martin, don't be angry. I actually like Wei Lian's carefree character. This makes me feel more friendly. Jason came over to talk to Wei Lian, and after speaking, he looked at Wei Lian with a smile, and Wei Lian happened to be looking at Jason as well, and their eyes met together. Jason looked at Wei Lian's clear and flawless eyes, and suddenly felt a little selfless. These should be the most beautiful eyes Jason has ever seen in his life. Seeing Jason staring at her blankly, Wei Lian suddenly felt a little embarrassed. Her face felt hot unconsciously, and she quickly turned her face away. Only then did Jason react and immediately coughed to cover up his gaffe. At this time, Galati just happened to come back. After saying hello to Martin, he came to Jason and said to Jason, I have notified Malif and OG. They are now waiting for you, the city lord, in the main hall. Please go there as soon as possible. I'm going over now. Lord Martin, please come with me. Jason said and quickly escaped from here, followed closely by Martin. What just happened here? Karate saw something wasn't right about Jason's state, so she asked Mati. Maybe Bastard was looking among dough just now, right? Marty said with a smile. What are you talking about? Can you speak? Who are you calling the bastard? Wei Lian came over and stepped on Mati hard. The unprepared Matty almost shed tears when he was suddenly stepped on. He hugged his feet and explained to Wei Lian, I didn't mean that I was just making an analogy. How can you use such metaphors? Villian said, grabbing a piece of meat from Marty's waist and twisting it down vigorously. This time Marty really couldn't bear it anymore. Tears fell instantly, and he hurriedly broke away from Wei Lian's clutches and ran away. You stop for me. Wei Lian chased after him reluctantly. Galade was left standing there alone in confusion, somewhat confused. Jason took Martin to the main hall and found that Marifu and OG had actually arrived. Lord City Lord, Lord Martin. Marifu and OG said to Jason in unison. No need to be polite. I've kept you two waiting for so long. Let's do it. Jason said, came to the seat of the city lord, touched the position, and then sat down. Due to my lack of experience, I hope you can assist me in managing Sargos well in the future. Jason said politely to everyone. Of course, we will leave no room to help you, Lord City Lord. Malifu said to Jason, Lord Marifu, what is the population of Sargos now? After Jason was done politely, Jason asked Molly Fudao straight to the point. The current population of Sargos is about 3,000 people. Molly Fo answered Jason. 3,000 people? Sargos was once a big city of 10,000 people. How can the population be so small now? Martin asked Mari Ford in disbelief. Master Martin, you don't know this. Ever since Kelida came to power and changed the poll tax from quarterly to monthly, the population of Sargos has been declining. Many ordinary people can't bear such a high tax, so they have chosen to leave the city and return to their hometowns. Now, some villages around Sargos are actually much more lively than our Sargos looks like. Malifu revealed the real reason for the population decline. It's really nonsense. As the Minister of Management, why didn't you tell Mr. Dawn earlier about such an important matter? Martin asked Mari Ford angrily. Before, I was too confused and succumbed to Kelida's power and did not dare to resist. But after Master Jason came, I suddenly realized, didn't this reveal Kelida's evil deeds to the public? Malifu also patted Jason's ass. Our top priority now is to find ways to increase the population of our Sargos. Do you have any good ideas? Jason asked everyone. While Jason was holding his first internal affairs meeting, a tall man wearing a wide black cloak came to the dungeon. Oh, the dungeon warden asked the man cautiously. I'm here to see someone. A deep, rough voice came from the black cloak. This is a dungeon, not a tavern. Can you just go in if you want? The jailer said in a stern tone to the man in the black cloak. The man slowly raised his head. The man's eyes were like a sharp sword, exuding such a strong, murderous aura. The two guards who were watching all backed away nervously. The man in the black cloak didn't give him a chance. Like a gust of wind, he rushed over, pinched the necks of the two jailers one by one, and lifted them up easily. Before the two jailers could react, their lives had already been taken away. After disposing of the two corpses, the man in the black cloak calmly entered the dungeon to block them. In the dark dungeon, Kylida was sitting disheveled in the prison. The man in the black cloak came to Kylida's prison. "Mozhan, you are finally here. Hurry up and save me." When Kylida saw the figure of the man in the black cloak, he knew it was the magic mountain. "Your father said, it's not the time yet, so let you wait." The mountain took off the hat from his head, revealing his true colors. "Wait? When do you want me to wait?" Kylida said, a little annoyed. Master Bud said, "It's good to let you suffer, let you remember, and when the time is right, he will find a way to rescue you." The mountain said to Kylida, "Damn, I was careless and underestimated that kid." Kylida gritted her teeth and said unwillingly, "I will come to see you often. You just stay here honestly. I'll go first." The mountain said and turned to leave. "Wait a minute. I need you to do something for me." Kylida shouted to the magic mountain. "What's the matter?" The magic mountain turned his head and asked Kylideo, "Help me kill that bitch who cheated on me, and help me dig out her heart." Kylida exuded endless hatred. "No problem." The mountain left after leaving a word. And Mira is packing her luggage. She is leaving Sago's. "Mira." Vinos suddenly came to Mira's house. "What are you doing here?" Mira didn't even look at him. She was still packing her luggage on her own. "Kylida has been imprisoned by Lord Dawn. I can fly away with you now." Vinos rushed up excitedly and shook Mira's hand. "Oh, forget it. I don't want to be sold out suddenly by you again." Mira withdrew her hand, turned her back to Vinos, and continued busy with her own affairs. "Mira, you have to understand me. I couldn't do anything at that time. Do you know how heartbroken I was at that time?" Vinos turned to Mira without giving up and continued. "I beg you, can you leave me alone? I'm just a prostitute. Why are you so hard on me?" Mira threw everything in her hands on the ground, a little annoyed, and said loudly to Vinos, For a moment, Vinos didn't know what to say or what to do to make Mira forgive him. "Go away quickly. I don't want to see you." Mira regained her composure and said to Vinos. Vinos silently put the clothes that Mira had just thrown on the ground into Mira's hands, and then left silently. Mira looked at the declining back of Vinos, and suddenly felt soft-hearted, but she didn't say it, and continued to organize her things. It wasn't long before Mira heard footsteps. Mira thought it was Vinos again, and said without turning her head, "Why are you back again? I told you that I don't want to see you. Give up. I will never be with you again, even if it is die." "That's right. I'm here to kill you." The mountain spoke without a trace of emotion in his signature thick voice. Mira's back felt cold, and she immediately turned her head. Seeing the huge figure of the Devil Mountain with a murderous expression on her face, she was so frightened that her legs softened and she sat on the ground. "My movements will be quick and won't even cause you pain." The mountain stroked Mira's face lightly and said, "Who? Let her go." After leaving, Vinos, who was not reconciled, abducted back. He didn't expect to see this scene as soon as he came back, and immediately yelled at the magic mountain. Mozhan stood up straight and turned his head to look at Vinos, and said to Vinos contemptuously, "You'd better run quickly, otherwise I can't guarantee that I won't kill you." What a big tone. I am a former city lord's personal entourage. Don't think that you will be my opponent if you're tall and powerful. You should be the one who wants to escape." Vinos said as he drew out his saber, and attached blue-armed anger to his saber. "Hee. If a mere sea-level anger master dares to speak up in front of me, I will teach you a lesson." As Mozhan said, he took off his black cloak, revealing his unstoppably strong figure, including the two-handed sword behind his back, his hands clenched into fists, and his whole body exuded red, armed anger. Vinos suddenly felt a little vain. He thought that he could scare the strong man away by releasing his armed anger, but now it seems that he thought too well. "Come on, I'll give you a weapon. The magic mountain beckoned to Venus provocatively. Venus originally wanted to escape, but when he saw Mira behind the magic mountain, he suddenly felt an inexplicable courage in his heart. He gritted his teeth and stamped his feet and clenched his sword with both hands. You worked hard. With a roar, Venus rushed towards the demon mountain, stabbed his sword in the abdomen of the demon mountain, and the demon mountain easily dodged sideways. Seeing the momentum, Venus swung the sword in his hand towards Emotion. Emotion directly stretched out a hand and grabbed Venus' sword. Emotion's hand was equipped with armed anger, and he easily withstood Venus' sword. Venus was instantly suppressed like this, unable to move at all. Even with all his strength, he couldn't pull out the sword at all. You rookie. The hand holding the sword of Venus suddenly squeezed hard, and the sword of Venus was broken in an instant. How is that possible? Venus watched this scene dumbfounded. The magic mountain directly grabbed Venus by the throat and lifted him up high. Venus gradually lost his breath, and he was about to die. Didn't you want my life? Let him go, and I will let you handle it. Mira stood up from the ground and said calmly, after going through so much, she was sold to a brothel by her father who was addicted to gambling when she was a teenager, and she suffered all kinds of torture. She thought she would be able to live well after being bought by Cardeas. She got better, but she didn't expect that she just fell into a more terrifying hell. In fact, she was already tired of living, and she didn't want to owe others favors when she was about to die. Puff! The mountain pierced Mira's heart instantly with armed rage with his other. Mira felt that her life was passing by at one point, and her consciousness began to become more and more blurred. What capital do you have now to negotiate terms with me? The mountain pulled out the hand that pierced Mira's heart, and Mira fell to the ground in response. No, you bastard. The blood flowing from Mela stimulated Venus's nerves, and Venus exerted force from his waist, raised his feet, and kicked heavily towards the face of Demon Mountain. The magic mountain didn't dodge at all, and just let Venus' feet be on his face. Hard as rock. I'll be a good person once today, and send you to hell to reunite. Mozhan stretched out the hand that was stained with Mira's blood, grabbed Venus' foot, and snapped it in the direction of the anti-joint. Severe pain hit Venus instantly, and he couldn't help but shouted. It's not over yet. The magic mountain sneered at Venus' pain and turned around Venus' legs so that his back was facing his back, with one hand grabbing Venus' ankle, one holding Venus' neck with his hands. He closed his hands together forcefully. Click! Venus' spine was instantly broken by the magic mountain. This piercing pain directly made Venus lose consciousness, and his subconscious mind also realized that he was going to die. The magic mountain folded Venus' feet and head together like this. How is it? Is it comfortable? Magic Mountain asked Venus, but Venus had already passed out and could not answer him at all. Seeing that the blue-armed anger on Venus gradually disappeared, Mozhan threw Venus to the ground and stomped heavily on Venus' heart, making sure that he was completely dead. He picked up his black cloak, put it on again, and left here quickly. After the internal affairs meeting, Jason asked Malifu and Martin to announce the results of their discussions to the people, and he brought Marty and Villian to the small restaurant where they often come, ready to celebrate one time. As soon as Jason walked into the restaurant, he saw the boss approaching enthusiastically. My lord, you are here. The boss greeted Jason and the others warmly. Well, the boss will get us some side dishes and a little wine. While talking, Jason led Marty and Villian to the private room they had visited several times before. Okay, I'll arrange for the chef to cook for you first. The boss hurried to tell the kitchen to prepare meals for Jason. Oh, it's not easy to finally get rid of Cardeas after enduring it for so long, Jason said, and sat on a chair and said to Marty and Villian, Third brother, where has my brother gone? Villian asked Jason if she saw Galati's figure. Hey, you want to count Sagos's grain depot? Kalita has been making false accounts when he was in power. There should be far more money in the warehouse than on the ledger. We have to make a clear inventory. Jason said proudly, Third brother, now that you have taken the seat of the city lord, what shall we do next? Marty leaned over and asked Jason, "The next step? I want to make Sagos rich and strong first, so that the people in the city can live a happy life. And then after Sagos stabilizes, I want to go to the Cat Viper as a teacher." Jason spoke of his plan. "Third brother is so kind." Villian blinked her big Caslaughter eyes and looked at Jason with admiration. Jason also turned his head to look at Villian. The two looked at each other, and the atmosphere suddenly became a little ambiguous. Cough, cough. Marty coughed twice inappropriately. Be careful, be careful. I'm still here." Marty looked around and said casually, "You guy." Jason, who was interrupted by Marty, couldn't help but feel a little unhappy. He enjoyed the feeling of heart pounding when he met Villian's eyes. He remembered that feeling as the feeling of first love. "My lords, your dishes are here." A waiter came in with a plate of big lobsters. When Jason saw the lobster on the plate, he didn't know what to say. He asked the boss to order a few side dishes, and he actually got the most expensive one here. Jason took a closer look at the plate, and there were 5 or 6 of them, which probably cost a lot of money. "Well, Zhao, we said that we can make a few side dishes casually. Isn't this a bit too casual?" Jason asked the little errand with some embarrassment. Jason didn't have a few dishes in his hands at all. Such an expensive dish. Jason reckoned that his money might not be enough to pay for this dish. "This is what our boss specially told us, and even asked our chef to pick some of the biggest lobsters we have here." Zhao put the lobster on the table with a smile and said, "Then why hesitate to eat?" As Marty said, he directly grabbed a lobster with his hand and put it in his mouth before biting it. "Hey, you!" Before Jason could say anything, Marty had already bit off the lobster's head, and Jason had no choice but to give up. "Those adults take it easy, so I'll go out first." Zhao said a word and left Jason's private room. "Oh!" Jason rubbed his forehead and sighed. "Huh? What's wrong?" Seeing Jason's appearance, Marty really thought something was wrong, so he put down the lobster in his hand and asked Jason, "Don't you know that our economy is very tight now? We didn't have a lot of money at first, and we gave a lot to Mara before. Now I probably can't even buy this lobster with what I have in my pocket." Jason looked desperately at the unrecognizable lobster that had been bitten by Marty. His heart was bleeding. After hearing Jason's words, Marty was stunned for a moment. He had already eaten the meat in his mouth and dared not chew it. "No, third brother, you're the city lord now. Can't you use the money from Sago City?" Villian asked Jason. "Although I can use it, I don't want to use it. I want to use the spare money to help the people. After all, the money is the ill-gotten gains that Cardeas squeezed from the people." Jason was deeply influenced by a sentence in his last life. "A gentleman loves money and gets it in a proper way." "Well, third brother, what you said makes sense. I support you." Villian clenched her fists and cheered Jason up. "Then what are we going to do with our meal?" Marty looked at Jason in a daze and asked, "Or just stay and wash the dishes?" Jason said without hesitation, "I think this will work." Galactic's voice suddenly came from outside the door. "Brother, you are finally here." Villian stood up at once to greet Galati. "How's it going? Have you checked out all the warehouses?" Jason looked at Galati, who walked in, and asked, "I figured it out, but I have one more important thing to tell you now." Galactic walked in, found a place to sit down, and said to Jason, "What is it? More important than checking out the warehouse?" Jason frowned and asked Galactica. Of course, Mela and Kyloda's former entourage, Venos, were both killed. According to rumors, they said that the one who killed the two of them was the same person who killed Lord Munster. Galati said to Jason, "What? Mira was killed." Maddie stood up abruptly after listening to Galati's words. "Why are you so nervous?" She was pierced through the heart in her own home. It should have happened not long ago. Galactic was startled by Marty's sudden jump and said to Marty, patting his chest, "I'm not nervous. I'm just after all she helped us push to Kyloda." The third brother also promised to keep her safe. She was killed suddenly, Marty said while hiding his sense of loss. Khalida must not escape being involved in this matter. Jason said and slammed the table angrily, stood up and walked outside. "Where are you going, third brother?" Villian asked Jason. I'm going to find Kylida. He must know who did this. Jason said with a livid face that he couldn't stand the person who helped him just now and was killed just like that. Even if he knew, he wouldn't say it. Galady shook his head and said, If you don't tell me, then I'll stop talking about this devilish way. The veins on Jason's forehead popped, and it could be seen that he was really angry this time. The group left the restaurant hastily and came to the dungeon. The two guards in front of the dungeon immediately stood up straight when they saw Jason and greeted Jason, My lord. Has anyone haunted your place recently? Jason asked the two guards. Is this true? It's just that the two guards from our previous shift suddenly disappeared, and I don't know where they went. A guard truthfully told Jason that two guards were missing from their place this morning. Two people disappeared out of thin air. Why didn't you report them? Jason stared and questioned the two guards angrily. We just thought in case they came back later, so we didn't report it. Both guards showed a guilty look. Even if they come back, it's a serious crime for them to leave the guard without permission when they are on duty. Are you two going to help them hide it like this? After hearing their explanation, Jason became even more in a bad mood and yelled directly at the two guards. Please calm down, Lord City Lord. We will never dare again. The two guards immediately knelt on the ground and confessed to Jason. Forget it. Where is Kylida locked up? Take me to see him. Jason is not in the mood to argue so much with them now. Okay, sir, please come with me. A guard hurriedly stood up and led Jason into the dungeon. When he came to Kylida's cell, Jason took a look at the disheveled Kylida. After confirming that it was him, he signaled the guard to go out first. Brother, are you here to see me? Kylida looked up at Jason and said to Jason with a smile, Mira was killed. Did you instigate someone else to do this? Jason is not in the mood to be polite to Kylida anymore, so he directly questioned Kylida with a cold face. How can I instruct others in this cell? Brother, you can't blame me for everything, can you? When Kylida heard the news of Melah's death, she felt happy for a while, but her face showed an expression of being wronged. Okay, don't pretend to be with me. People who have witnessed it have already said that the guy who killed Mira this time and the guy who killed Minster that night were the same person, and Lord Minster's death must have been caused by worship. Your gift. Jason poked at Kylida impatiently and said, What do you say? I admit that I have raised taxes privately, and it really made me do it, but what evidence do you have to prove that I have something to do with the death of Lord Munster? Kylida said without haste. All the people who saw it that night have already told me that it was you who took that strong man to kill Munster at the corner of the alley that night. In addition, if you were really the one who killed Munster after death, how could you know that Mr. Munster drank a lot of wine with us the night before yesterday? Jason slammed on the cell door and questioned Kylida. Why do you still care about those things now? You're already the city lord of Sargos. Are these things still important to you? Kylida glanced at Jason and said, I know you and your father have been plotting something. Don't worry, I won't let you succeed. After Jason glared at Kylida, he left. Galati and the others hurriedly followed and left together. Galati, go and ask Malifaux to come to me. I have something to ask him to do. After leaving the dungeon, Jason said to Galati, Okay, I'll go right now. Galati agreed and went to find Malifaux. Not long after Jason returned to the castle, Malifaux came. Malifaux came to Jason's room and first saluted Jason. I have met the lord of the city. Did you know that the woman who identified Kylida was killed? Jason asked Malifaux. Of course I know this. Now the people in the city are panicking. They think that although you have become the city lord, in fact, Sagos is still Kylida's. If you can't fight against Kylida, that woman will end up. Malifaux said bluntly to Jason. Then what does Lord Malifaux think I should do to dispel the concerns of the people? Jason asked Malifaux. Catch the murderer who is secretly helping Kylida and announce it to the whole city so that the people can feel at ease. Malifaux explained the method in a simple and clear way. Then I will leave the matter of finding that person to you, Master Malifaux. It should be easy for your Black Crow to find someone, right? Jason asked Malifaux. That man, I investigated that man when Minster died. His name is Magic Mountain. He was born with supernatural power, infinite power, and A-level natural anger. He was discovered by Bard when he was very young, and then Bard has been cultivating him in secret. He's also an important secret weapon of Bard, even more important to Bard than his son Khalida, and he has been kept in secret. Malifaux told Jason all the information about the mountain. Find where he is, and I will personally arrest him. Jason said to Malifaux, without City Master, you have to think clearly. He has an A-level talent for rage, and Bard has been focusing on training him. Even if you find him, you will be sending him to death. Malifaux persuaded Jason. I haven't even tried. How do you know I can't do it? Jason felt that it was time for him to try his own strength. The magic mountain sounded like a good alchemy stone. Okay, I'll tell you soon where the mountain is hiding. After Malifaux finished speaking, he left. Third brother, I heard what Malifaux said. That magic mountain really wants to be very powerful. Do you really want to go find him yourself? Villian asked Jason after Malifaux left. If I can't beat this guy, how can I stand on the top of the Cardeas continent? Jason said to Villian passionately. Then let's go with you. Wylian immediately agreed. No, when the time comes, you can stay in Sagos with Galactica, and I will go with Marty. After all, Sagos is completely in a state of waiting to be done, and no one can take care of it. Galactica is delicate, and I will leave it to you. He is the most reassuring to me. Jason said to Villian and Galati. Young master, don't worry, I will manage Sagos well. Galati said to Jason. Well, later you go to Sagos' warehouse to get 1,000 gold coins, and we'll go buy some equipment. After seeing Fergie's magical weapons, Jason still felt that weapons were quite useful. In the following time, Jason took Galati and others to the market to purchase a large number of things, such as the recovery pill, the anger pill, and the paralysis powder. Jason processed the spikes he got from the wolf-toothed porcupine to make them smaller and easier to use. Someone had made a belt specially designed to hold his tools. It could be said that Jason had prepared everything he could and was waiting for Malifaux to bring him news of the Magic Mountain. Malifaux also lived up to Jason's hope. 2 days later, he found out that after Khalida was captured, the Magic Mountain hid in a small riverside village between the two cities of Sagos and Chezawo. After Jason heard the news, he and Marty each chose a good horse and set off. This time, Jason was determined to kill the mountain. Brother, you said that the third brother and the others will be fine? Villian, who came to see Jason and the others off, looked at the back of Jason and the others and asked Galactic. It will be all right. Don't forget that the young master already has ill-level anger now. I believe the young master will win, and after listening to the words of the cat viper, I think we are very good at the Cardeas continent. The understanding is far from enough. There's still many powerful people hidden in this world that we don't know. If the young master can't even solve a mere magic mountain, how can we talk about other things? This time the young master has to experience test. Galati comforted Villian. Hope they're doing well. Villian cupped her fists and silently prayed for Jason and the others. On the other side, Jason was galloping all the way on his horse. He was already impatient to see the Magic Mountain and defeat him. Marty couldn't keep up with Jason. Drive! Marty saw that the distance between himself and Jason was getting farther and farther, and he swung the horses as heavily with the whip in his hand to make him go faster. Third brother, slow down, I'm almost unable to keep up. Don't worry, at our speed, we will definitely be able to get there before dark. Marty called Jason. Hearing Marty's shout, Jason let go of the horse's belly with both feet, allowing the horse to slow down and keep pace with Marty. I can't wait to see the Magic Mountain. I've never been so eager to fight someone. Jason said to Marty excitedly. Enthusiasm is a good thing, but I think you should calm yourself down. If you're too impulsive, it is easy to be careless. I heard from that guy Malifaux that Magic Mountain is a murderous guy, so you better be careful. Although Marty is reckless, he still knows the importance of keeping calm in battle. Okay, I see. There's a small post in front. Let's take a rest and then start again. Before they knew it, the two of them had been running for nearly an hour, and Sagos had been left far behind by them and could not be seen. Jason also felt a little thirsty and happened to see a man in front of him. Small station. That's great. Let's go there quickly and take a break. My ass hurts like hell. Marty rubbed his ass and said, Haha, the main reason is that your weight is too large and the pressure is too great. Jason smiled and said to Marty, Now it's just the two of us, and you keep making fun of me. If you do that again, I won't play with you. Marty said to Jason, a little unhappy. Okay, it's my fault. My fault, stay away from me, okay? How about I buy you wine when I get there? Jason smiled and said to Marty, That's what you said? Don't go back on your word. Marty said to Jason with a smile. The two soon arrived at the small inn. Marty strode over to the tables, chairs and benches placed outside the station, and sat down, shouting loudly, Shower, bring me some food and drinks, and a jug of good wine. Okay, the two guests sit down first, and I'll prepare it for you. Zhao Fei enthusiastically agreed. At this time, a person who looked like a hill came over wearing a black cloak, sat near Jason and the others, as if competing with Jason and the others, and shouted to Zhao Fei, Give me an appetizer, but the wine I don't want a pot, just bring me a tank. Hey, what do you mean, big guy? Marty could not bear such a provocation, stood up as soon as he slapped the table, and came to the side of that person. Marty, don't be impulsive. Jason hadn't finished speaking when he saw the man in the black cloak standing up, and Jason was stunned. Marty's body is tall enough. That guy is a head taller than the horse. He is probably 2 meters tall. He is almost like an enlarged version of Marty. I go. Relying on his height of 1.8 meters dash, Marty basically looks down at others. This is the first time he looks up at others. Did I get in your way with a drink? The big man lowered his head and asked Marty in a deep voice. What you said just now is clearly provoking me. Marty did not give in at all, stood on the bench, looked at the big guy, and said, I'm just joking about your low drinking capacity. Why don't people tell you that you can't drink? I'm just joking about your low drinking capacity. Why don't people tell you that you can't drink enough? The big man saw Marty standing on the stool with his toes high and sat down with a sneer smile. Hey, I've never been told in my life that I don't drink too much. Little air, bring me a tank. Marty shouted at Zhao Fei. Seeing the posture of the two people, Zhao Fei didn't dare to say much, and immediately moved 2 large tanks of wine and ran over. Marty, we have work to do. It's okay. Don't worry. Marty directly interrupted Jason, jumped off the stool, and opened the 2 bucket-sized wine in front of him. Do you dare to compete with me? Marty sat beside the big man and pointed to the 2 large vats of wine. Compare. I, Magic Mountain, have never been afraid of anyone while drinking. The big man grabbed off the black cloak as he spoke, revealing his ferocious face and his muscles like steel. What? Jason and Marty were subconsciously stunned. This guy turned out to be the Magic Mountain. You are the Magic Mountain? Marty asked, pointing to the Magic Mountain. How come you have heard of me? Sean felt that something was wrong with the atmosphere and secretly prepared for the battle. Jason immediately walked up to Marty and pushed him and said to Marty in Magic Mountain, I have never seen anyone drinking from such a big vat. You two are in charge of the competition, and I will be the judge for you. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This Magic Mountain doesn't seem to be easy to deal with. If he can be tricked into drinking all kinds of meat and vegetables, maybe he can be eliminated without bloodshed. Jason has already made up his mind. Come. Marty also understood what Jason meant, and immediately handed the vat of wine to the Magic Mountain. Mozan took a cautious look at Jason and Marty, and felt that things were not that simple. The clothes of these 2 people and the tall horse behind them were not ordinary people at first glance. Forget it. I remembered that I still have something to do. Let's do it another day. The Magic Mountain picked up his black cloak and was about to leave. Seeing that the mountain was about to leave, Jason immediately took out a porcupine quill that had been polished and improved by him from the belt around his waist, injected a burst of armed anger, and threw it at the mountain. The moment he turned around, Magic Mountain had already released his perceived anger cautiously. He had sensed that the moment Jason threw the porcupine quill and immediately turned his head, injecting armed anger into his hand, he knocked the porcupine quill that Jason threw aside. Bang! The porcupine quill hit the ground deeply. Who are you? There was a flash of murderous intent in Magic Mountain's eyes as he stared at Jason and Marty. You were the one who killed Lord Munster and a woman in Sagos. As Jason said, He drew out his lion hunting sword. "So what if it's me?" The mountain said as he threw the cloak in his hand aside. "That's right. We are here to arrest you and bring you to justice." As Jason spoke, he unleashed his armed rage, covering his whole body, and he hunted lions. A-level anger master? It's not bad. It seemed that I have some fun today. As Sean spoke, he also released armed anger and pulled out the two-handed sword on his back and plunged the sword heavily into the ground. "It's really good luck to drink you out of drinking, and it saves us from looking for you everywhere." As Marty said, he picked up the bottle of wine, drank a few gulps, threw the wine casually, wiped his mouth, and dropped the one-handed axe on his back. "Come on together, I'm in a hurry." The mountain cast a disdainful look at Jason and Marty and said he already felt that although Jason has a level anger, but the anger value is not very deep, he should not be his opponent, let alone Marty. Having said that, he is confident that he can finish off the two of them within dozens of rounds. "Why are you so arrogant in everything you do? I don't like this kind of behavior the most." Marty said that holding an axe was like cutting off the magic mountain. Mozhan unhurriedly pulled out his two-handed sword that was stuck on the ground and blocked Mati's axe. The powerful force directly shook Mati away and landed on a table, knocking the table all smashed to pieces. Jason rushed up immediately, and the magic mountain didn't give Jason a chance to attack. He picked up his two-handed sword and cut Jason off with one sword. Jason hurriedly threw his hunting lion on his head to block the attack. The two-handed sword of the Demon Mountain, but Jason couldn't bear the power of the Demon Mountain. His legs were directly suppressed and almost fell to the ground. Jason gritted his teeth and pushed the two-handed sword of the Demon Mountain upwards, giving himself there was a gap to avoid the two-handed sword of the Magic Mountain. The Magic Mountain's sword hit the ground and cut a long crack on the ground, which was enough to show its power. At this time, the other guests in the inn could not sit still and fled in all directions. In a moment, there were only 3 people left here, Jason, Marty, and Magic Mountain. "My good fellow, this is simply a bull." Marty got up from the ground and came to Jason's side and said to Jason, "He has a huge size and should move slowly. Let's play more flexibly and use harassment tactics." Jason looked at Magic Mountain and calmly analyzed. But in the next second, Magic Mountain overturned Jason's idea. In the blink of an eye, Magic Mountain came to Jason and Marty and slashed at them both with a sword. "Careful!" Jason reacted abruptly and quickly reminded Maddie. Without saying a word, Marty immediately raised his axe to block the two-handed sword of the Demon Mountain and fought against the Demon Mountain with all his might. Jason didn't stay idle either and immediately stabbed the Magic Mountain with his sword. The mountain lifted a foot and kicked Jason's sword away from him. Jason took the opportunity to take out a porcupine quill from his waist and threw it at the Devil Mountain's abdomen. Inside the Magic Mountain, he withdrew his two-handed sword and blocked the porcupine quill. Without the pressure, Marty immediately slashed at the mountain with an axe. The mountain used his sword to prop up the ground and did a backflip, which made Marty's axe fall into the air and distanced him from Jason and Marty. "You guys are so despicable. You actually played tricks." Magic Mountain looked at Jason coldly and said, "This is my affirmation for you. If you are weak, I won't use it." Jason responded to Magic Shondao. "Haha, why are you talking so much nonsense with him?" Marty said in a rough manner. The power of the Magic Mountain is simply crushing level for him, and he was a little out of breath in a few rounds. "You two are no match for me. I'm in a good mood today. If you two know what's going on, get out of here. I can let you go," Magic Mountain said to Jason and Marty, holding his two-handed sword. "We came out this time to get rid of you. Even if we leave, we will take your head back." "We came out this time to get rid of you. Even if we leave, we will take your head back." Jason regained his grip on the lion hunt and released his perceived anger. "Since you two want to die, then I will fulfill you." As the Magic Mountain spoke, it turned into a red light again and rushed towards Jason and Marty. "This is not in line with your plan. This guy's incredibly fast." After Marty and Jason hurriedly dodged another blow from the mountain, Marty complained to Jason, "How do I know this guy is so anti-human? He is tall, strong, and fast. He is simply LeBron James. Jason was also crying in his heart. Who is LeBron? Marty asked Jason with a confused face. Don't care about these details, it's not important. Pay attention, that guy is coming. As Jason said, he quickly pulled out 2 porcupine quills from his waist and threw them in the direction the magic mountain was rushing towards. In order to deal with the 2 porcupine quills, Mozhan had to slow down his speed. Marty took this opportunity to see Moshan's movements clearly and rushed over immediately, aiming at Mozhan with an axe. Magic Mountain blocked the 2 porcupine quills, and before he had time to adjust his center of gravity, Marty rushed over. So he had to avoid Marty's attack by turning sideways. Jason wasn't idle either. Taking advantage of Marty's initiative, he rushed over and aimed his sword at Moshan's waist. Clang! Magic Mountain blocked Jason's lion hunting with his 2-handed sword in an extremely awkward posture, and dazzling sparks burst out from the collision of the 2 blades. You bastard! You are really shameful. The mountain rotated 360 degrees and swung the 2-handed sword in its hand, forcing both Jason and Marty back. You don't care if it's a bad move. As long as you can win, it's a good move. Jason stepped back and stood firm, responding to M.O. Shondow. What a shameless theory. Watch me chop you into meat paste. As he said that, Mozhan rushed towards Jason. When he was still a few steps away from Jason, he jumped high with both feet and raised his 2-handed sword with both hands. Jason looked up at the magic mountain, jumping high, and at the huge body of the magic mountain, which almost covered him within a radius of 1 meter. A strong sense of oppression came over, making Jason tremble. He was stunned for a moment and missed the opportunity to escape, so he had no choice but to hold the hunting lion in his hand high above his head to resist the attack of the magic mountain. Clang! Boom! The moment the magic mountain's 2-handed sword came into contact with Jason's hunting lion, it directly exerted a huge pressure. The ground under Jason's feet collapsed directly, and the ground centered on Jason, cracking in all directions. Jason's hands also felt numb the moment the magic mountain's great sword hit it, and he almost let go of the lion hunter in his hands. Jason gritted his teeth, the veins on his forehead popped out, and the muscles on his arms were breaking through the limit. At this moment, Jason was holding on with his breath. The power of the magic mountain was really terrifying. Third brother, hold on. I'm coming. As Matt said, he rushed over immediately, and he slashed towards the head of the magic mountain with an axe. But the reality was not as good as Marty imagined. The magic mountain acted quickly, and he jumped up on the horse and prepared to chop the axe in his hand. When he was facing the Devil Mountain suddenly raised a foot, gathered armed anger, and kicked Marty directly in the abdomen. The moment Magic Mountain's foot hit Marty, Marty popped out like a cannonball that he fell heavily to the ground. What? Jason took advantage of the fact that 1 foot of the Devil Mountain was off the ground, and his strength was slightly weakened. He let out a roar, dragged the hunting lion on his head, wiped the sword with both hands of the Devil Mountain, and quickly approached the Devil Mountain. And then, turning around, he escaped from under the 2-handed sword of the Demon Mountain and swung the hunting lion in his hand towards the Demon Mountain. The Magic Mountain was in an orderly manner and immediately retracted the long hilt of his 2-handed sword in front of him, blocking Jason's lion hunting. Jason also expected that his attack would be neutralized by the Devil Mountain, so he deliberately stuck to the Devil Mountain side just for his backhand. Jason raised his knee and slammed directly into the Magic Mountain. Magic Mountain didn't care at all when he saw Jason bumping into him. He didn't think Jason's small body could hit him. But this time he made a mistake. They had thought that Jason could be so cunning that he directly hit his lifeblood with his knee. Enduring the severe pain, Moshan quickly stepped back a dozen steps, distanced himself from Jason. Mozhan gritted his teeth and stared at Jason and said, "You bastard." Mozhan endured the unbearable pain coming from below, but he still persisted. His back straightened, and bean-sized sweat appeared on his head. "Don't bear the pain." Jason took this opportunity to quickly shake his arm that was so numb that he could hardly hold the sword. "What?" In the end, Mozhan couldn't stand the pain anymore, squatted on the ground, and yelled to relieve his pain. "Are you okay?" Jason took this opportunity to come to Marty's side and help Marty up. "What's wrong with this big guy?" Marty looked at Magic Mountain, who was squatting on the ground with a painful face, and asked Jason. "He was hit by me," Jason said with a mean smile. Marty was also speechless for a while. "You little vermin. I'm going to chop off your head for a chamber pot." The Magic Mountain has been completely irritated by Jason. Standing up, he said to Jason with angry eyes, and the armed anger on his body became stronger again. "Then see if you have the ability." Jason danced the hunting lion in Wu's hand and said to the Magic Mountain in a fighting posture, "Go to hell. Go to hell." Like a mad rhinoceros, the mountain charged towards Jason again. The surrounding air was compressed by the oppressive force, carried by the Magic Mountain into gusts of wind. Jason immediately began to move quickly to avoid the impact of the Magic Mountain. After carrying it just once, Jason would not be foolishly resisting it. But the Magic Mountain is like equipped with GPS navigation. No matter where Jason escapes to, he will always appear by Jason's side in the next second. Jason, on the other hand, was completely busy parrying, without the slightest chance to fight back. "Don't run away if you have the guts." The Magic Mountain chased Jason and challenged Jason. Idiots don't run. Jason, on the other hand, didn't follow the tricks of the Magic Mountain at all. This was a moment of life and death, and Jason would not do stupid things just because of a provocation from his opponent. Third brother, Marty, suddenly clenched the axe in his hand, concentrated all his armed anger on the axe, pulled away, and called Jason. Jason glanced at Marty's state and knew what Marty was going to do. Jason ran towards Marty without any hesitation, and Magic Mountain followed closely behind, waving the two-handed sword at Jason constantly, and Jason dodged in a thrilling manner. "Get down!" As soon as Jason came to Marty's side, Marty reminded Jason loudly. Following the power of the sprint, Jason fell to the ground directly according to Marty's instructions. With a roar, Marty slashed at Jason's back with all his might. Dazed by anger, Magic Mountain, who was focused on Jason, didn't notice Marty at all. He was directly hit by Marty's axe, and Marty fell backwards like playing tennis. The huge body slid along the ground for more than 10 meters before stopping. After hitting this blow with full force, the muscles in Marty's hands twitched for a while, and he lost all his strength. "Marty!" Jason immediately helped Marty up and fed him a rejuvenation pill. "How? Is the big guy dead?" Marty panted heavily and asked Jason. "I don't think so." Jason looked at Emotion, who was lying on the ground with his head buried in the soil, and said he didn't think Emotion would be defeated so easily. Even filming a TV series would not be so easy and fast. "It's the first time I feel such a big pressure. This big guy is really extraordinary." Maddie spoke the truth. "Okay, don't talk so much. You should have a good rest first," Jason said to Marty. As soon as Jason's words fell, Magic Mountain supported the ground with one hand and scraped the dirt off his head with the other. "Stand up again." "I knew it wouldn't be that simple." Jason also stood up while speaking, released his armed anger again, and looked at the Magic Mountain. There was a long scar on Mashan's face. The scar was quite deep. Through the scar, you could see the bones inside, and it was still bleeding with this scar as a foil. It made Magic Mountain look even more terrifying. Just at the critical moment, Mozhan hastily gathered a large amount of armed anger on his face to protect him. Otherwise, he might have only half of his head left. Mozhan wiped a handful of the blood that kept flowing down with his hand, put it in his mouth and tasted it, and said to Jason, "I haven't tasted the taste of blood for a long time. You are doing very well." Then I think you must have not tasted the taste of losing your head for a long time, right?" Jason's momentum was not lost at all. "Underestimated you just now. This time, no more." As soon as the Magic Mountain finished speaking, he rushed toward Jason with a two-handed giant sword in one hand. Jason also started to move to avoid head-on confrontation with the Magic Mountain, but the trajectory of the Magic Mountain's attack did not change at all. Only then did Jason realize that the target of the Magic Mountain was not him, but the one who was recovering from meditation after taking the resurrection pill. Marty. Jason groaned inwardly and turned back without hesitation, holding the hunting lion tightly with both hands, concentrating on preparing to receive the blow from the Magic Mountain. Why didn't you run away this time? Magic Mountain asked Jason with a smile. Let's fight. How can there be so much nonsense? As Jason spoke, he took out 2 more porcupine quills and threw them at Emotion. Emotion lightly flicked the 2-handed sword in his hand, blocked the porcupine quills, and rushed towards Jason with all his strength. Jason looked at the posture of the Magic Mountain. If he collided with him here, it would probably hurt Marty behind him. He gritted his teeth and stomped his feet and rushed towards the mountain with the hunting lion. The distance between the two became very close in an instant. The Demon Mountain, which had a relatively large attack range, took the initiative and swung the 2-handed sword at Jason. Jason immediately held the lion with both hands and blocked the Demon Mountain's sword. The mountain didn't stop. This time, he didn't intend to fight Jason, but he grabbed Jason's collar with his free hand. Before Jason could react, he was caught. The Magic Mountain picked it up and pressed it heavily on the ground. Cough! The moment Jason was pressed to the ground around Jason shattered, directly centered on Jason. It seemed that even though there was an armed anger shield, Jason still coughed up a mouthful of blood due to the strong impact. However, the mountain's attack was not over yet, and the next moment, the mountain threw an elbow on Jason's face. In a panic, Jason raised his left hand to help his face. The Magic Mountain bent down with such force that it directly broke Jason's left arm, and Jason's arm hung down weakly with the sound of Gabba. The bone broke. Go to hell. As he said that, Mohan knelt directly on Jason's body and pressed Jason with his knees so that he could not move. One hand directly grabbed Jason's neck, and the other hand clenched his fist and punched Jason. Jason's face was smashed. Boom! With a single punch, Jason was struck with stares in his eyes. At this moment, Jason felt that he was not far from death, but a voice suddenly appeared in his subconscious, calling him, "No, you can't just die like this. You still have lofty ideals. Have you forgotten? You said okay. You want to rule the continent of Cardeas. How can you die here? Find a way. Find a way." Jason, whose consciousness was already blurred, suddenly woke up, looked at Emo Shan's face, and spat the blood from his mouth into Emo Shan's eyes. Puff! Jason forcefully spat the blood from his mouth into the mountain's eyes. The Magic Mountain didn't expect Jason to have such a move at all, and he didn't prepare at all. A red mist came in front of his eyes, and a stinging pain came from his eyes immediately. He couldn't see anything clearly, only a patch of red. Ah! Emo Shan screamed, subconsciously wanting to rub his eyes with both hands. Jason could not let this opportunity go, took out a porcupine quill from his waist, and stabbed Emo Shan's knee heavily. The mountain immediately jumped up and moved away from Jason. You will use some dirty tricks. It's really disgusting. The mountain rubbed his eyes, regained his sight, and pulled out the porcupine quill that had stuck deep in his knee. Ow! I like to use dirty tricks, don't you like it? Then you bite me. Jason stood up tremblingly. His face had unknowingly swelled up, and he looked so embarrassed that he might not be recognized unless he looked carefully. I'm going to use my sword to test how thick your skin really is. How shameless. Jason was not in a daze, and directly took the lion hunting and used his last trace of anger to attach to the lion hunting and rushed towards the Magic Mountain. Emo Shan moved his wrist, held his big sword in both hands, and walked slowly towards Jason. Seeing that Magic Mountain had entered his attack range, Jason slashed at Magic Mountain with his sword, but it was obviously a little soft and weak. Magic Mountain directly raised his hand and used the 2-handed sword in his hand to deflect Jason's hunting lion, and he thrust his sword into the ground heavily. He clenched his fist, blew into it, put away his armed anger, punched Jason in the face, and knocked Jason to the ground. Cough, cough. Jason lay on the ground and coughed out a mouthful of blood, and now he was completely powerless. Emo Shan glanced at Jason, turned around, and pulled out the sword he had stuck on the ground. Go to Jason's side and use his sword to turn Jason, who is lying on his stomach, so that he is face up. What's your name? Judging by your attire, I think you should be a nobleman, right? Come and tell me that the nobleman gave birth to someone as insidious as you." The Magic Mountain looked at Jason and asked, "Do you think you've won?" Marty stood up suddenly and said to Magic Mountain, "You shouldn't stand up again. You're just looking for death." The Magic Mountain didn't even look at Marty and said flatly, "Death is death. What's the big deal?" Marty moved his body and picked up his axe again. Due to the effect of the recovery pill, Marty's condition had returned to its best state. "I'm afraid you don't know the horror of death, so I'll let you see it." As he spoke, Mozhan kicked Jason lying on the ground aside and released his armed anger again. Marty glanced at Jason, who was lying on the ground and passed out, and prayed silently in his heart, "No matter who it is, come and save my third brother." Marty knows that even if he is in the best condition, the chance of defeating the Magic Mountain is very slim. He has already made up his mind to die, but what he is not reconciled to is that Jason died like this. He has supernatural power. It's such a shame to die like this. Say it. How do you want to die? Mozhan stuck his two-handed sword on the ground, held the hilt with both hands, and asked Mati, "It's as if I have no chance of winning at all." Marty and the mountain looked at each other and said, "Otherwise, do you still think you have a chance of winning?" The mountain spread his hands and shook his head and said, "Too arrogant will suffer a lot." Marty said that the armed anger on his body exploded. Leaping high, he raised his axe and slashed at the demon mountain. Today's battle is really enjoyable. The corner of Emo-shan's mouth raised a smile, and Emo-shan disappeared in the next second. "What?" Marty quickly looked for the figure of the demon mountain, and suddenly a strong pressure came from the top of his head. Before Marty could raise his head was held down by the huge palm of the demon mountain. Magic Mountain grabbed Marty's ankle with one hand and Marty's head with the other. With both feet on Marty's back, he squatted on Marty's body, using his weapon, and went down as hard as he could. "Step on." Marty, who was controlled, had no choice but to let himself be stepped on by the Magic Mountain and fall down. Boom! With a loud noise, Maddie and the Magic Mountain that stepped on Maddie hit the ground like a meteorite. Dust was rising all around. The dust flying in the air gradually dissipated, and Magic Mountain slowly stood up and walked towards Jason. As for Marty, his sternum was trampled to pieces. His heart could not withstand the strong impact and was broken. Blood flowed out from his mouth, nose, eyes, and ears. Just like this, Marty was killed by the Magic Mountain in a clean and quick move. It was so fast. 10 seconds ago, he was still alive and fighting to the death with the Magic Mountain. After 10 seconds, he became a dead body lying quietly. "There, it's your turn. Want to kill me? You're still early." The Magic Mountain came in front of Jason, raised his two-handed sword, and was about to stab Jason. "Stop!" An old man's voice rushed towards the Magic Mountain with great deterrent force. He crushed the mountain to his knees on the ground. "Ooh!" The Devil Mountain raised his head under the strong pressure and asked, "The one who came to kill you?" An old man wearing a black cloak slowly came to the front of the Magic Mountain. The old man's body was full of black and red anger, and Emo-shan couldn't believe his eyes when he saw this scene. "Senior, I don't know where I offended you. Please tell me so that I can understand." Looking at the old man, the black and red armed anger on his body, and the powerful, shocking anger brought by him, he knew that if he wanted to kill himself, it would be as easy as killing a chicken. "You just finished bullying my grandson. As a grandfather, isn't it only natural for me to avenge my grandson?" The old man was Jason's grandfather, Cotton Lane. "Your grandson?" Emo-shan glanced at Jason subconsciously, but he didn't expect that Jason had such a big backer behind him. "I don't want to bully you too much. I don't need to be angry. If you can escape from my hands, I will let you go. What do you think?" Cotton Lane stroked his beard and took back all the armed anger he had released. "This is what you said. Don't go back on your word." After Emo-shan said this, he immediately exerted force on his feet and wanted to escape. But I don't know when his shoulder has been grabbed by Cotton Lane and Magic Mountain can't break free with all his strength, that hand that looks a little dry. The hand that Cotton Lane was pinching the mountain's shoulder suddenly exerted strength. Gabba! With a sound, Cotton Ryan did not resort to anger at all, and forcibly used his own strength to crush Demon Mountain's shoulder. Cotton pulled back hard again, bringing the mountain down to the ground. "Did you just knock my grandson down like this?" Cotton asked the mountain road. The terrified Demon Mountain was so frightened that he couldn't speak now, because the other party was really too strong. "No, I think I knocked him down with one punch, right?" While speaking, Kadun pulled the Devil Mountain up again, facing the face of the Devil Mountain, rounded his arms, and punched down, directly hitting the Devil Mountain in a mess that I in almost the same posture as Jason. He lay on the ground. "It seems that you're going to fail, so there is nothing you can do. You can't say that I didn't give you a chance." As Cotton said this, he was about to learn about Magic Mountain. Magic Mountain immediately picked up the two-handed sword next to him and slashed at Cotton. Kadun easily dodged and punched Kadun's arm, directly breaking his arm. Before the mountain could scream, Cotton punched the mountain's Adam's apple and punched him down. This punch directly broke Mashan's trachea, making him unable to scream or breathe. This punch directly broke Mashan's trachea, making him unable to scream or breathe. Mozhan knelt on the ground in pain, holding his neck with both hands, his face flushed red. "This punch was for my grandson's little follower." Cotton walked up to the Devil Mountain and said slowly. Then he clenched his fist again and punched the Devil Mountain in the chest again. "What?" This punch hit Mashan's heart, and Mashan's heart was pounded violently, beating rapidly. After being punched, Mozhan fell to the ground, twitching nonstop, and it seemed that he was about to die. "This punch was for my grandson." After Kadun finished speaking, he came to Jason's side, carried Jason on his shoulders, and disappeared, leaving the mountain in agony, awaiting death. As soon as the scene changed, Khotan took Jason to the forest hut of the Cat Viper. Seeing Khotan's arrival, Cat Viper immediately greeted him and took over the unconscious Jason. "What exactly is going on?" Kadun saw that Jason was covered in injuries, so he asked Kadun, "What else can happen? Fight with others and lose." Khotan handed Jason over to the Cat Viper. Cat Viper carried Jason back to the hut and put Jason on the bed. Cotton waved his hand to Viper, gesturing for him to come out and talk. Viper left the house and closed the door behind him. "That kid Bud has colluded with the Birdmen of the Egan family in the West to snatch that kid Don's position as the Lord of the South, so let Jason stay with you for the time being to avoid any danger." Cotton said to Cat Viper, "What? Now that you know, why don't you come forward to stop him?" Cat Viper asked Kadundao, "Young people's affairs, let them solve it by themselves. I can't take care of it now, and I don't bother to take care of it." Cotton sighed. "Well, of course you have your reasons for doing this, so don't worry, I will definitely take good care of this kid." Cat Viper glanced at Jason, who was still asleep through the windowsill. "Well, I think this kid will do a lot in the future. You have to train him well. I'm going to Imrad in the southeast desert recently, and I won't be back for a while." Curtin looked at the sleeping Jason with his beard and said to the Cat Viper, "The desert in the southeast? The place where birds don't lay eggs is even poorer than our southern border. Where are you going?" Cat Viper asked Kadundao, "Where am I going to meet my old friend? I haven't seen him for so many years. I also want to see him. By the way, I don't want to stay here and watch those two boys fight for each other. I should just go out and relax." As he spoke, Kadun took off a belt full of anger crystals from his waist and handed it to Mal Viper. "This is my treasure. I got it from Fergie. Every moment of anger crystal on the belt can provide a storage space of 1 cubic meter. There are exactly 12 anger crystals on the belt. As long as you inject a little anger into the anger crystal, it can be opened. It is absolutely easy to use. I think that kid Jason has a lot of things on his waist. With this, he will be more convenient. I don't have anything to keep now. Useful, I will give it to you. When Jason wakes up, you give this to him." "Okay, I will pass it on to him." Cat Viper quickly took the belt. "By the way, you must remember that you must not tell the kid about me. I don't want him to know my existence." Before leaving, Kadun told Mal Viper again, Okay, I see. Cat Viper nodded in agreement. Okay, I'll go first. Kudun glanced at Jason again, fueled his anger, and disappeared in the blink of an eye, and nothing around him made any waves, as if there was no one here at all just now. I don't know what great things you can do in the future. It's really exciting. After Cotton left, Cat Viper pulled Jason to his side and said to Jason. Early the next morning, just as Cotton said, Bard was rushing toward Sargos with hundreds of fully armed elite troops. Coincidentally, he also came to the station where Jason and the mountain fought. Huh, why does the person lying on the ground look so familiar? Come on, let's go and have a look. Bard said to the entourage behind him. Yes. The entourage behind Bard immediately jumped off the horse and quickly ran towards the man lying on the ground. Master Bud, didn't you say that you still have an A-level fighter who will fight with us? People, a man with a long hooked nose beside Bud asked Bud, and the family flag raised by the troops behind this man showed his identity. On the flag is an eagle flying high, and they're the Egan family that governs the western part of the Cardeas continent. And this man is the second son of the head of the Egan family, Morse Egan, Gaunt Egan, and behind him are his two sons, Lewis and Bobby. This time, Bard promised to give them 10,000 gold coins as a thank you if they helped him defeat Dawn and let him ascend to the position of Lord of the South. Morse Evan didn't agree at all, but after thinking about it carefully after the death of Cotton Ryan, there were no strong people in the Ryan family. In addition to the lack of population, this time Bard brought his son to fight against Dawn. Even if they don't come to help, he said In also has no chance of winning. Why not just come here and just go through the motions and make a fortune? So why not do it? So I agreed to Bud and asked my second son to bring someone to help Bud. Master Gunter, why do you care about him so much? With the strength of you and your two young masters, it's more than enough to deal with Dawn. It's okay without him. Bud thought about the person lying here in the distance, and he might be the Magic Mountain because of his body's shape. After all, it is rare to see a person with a height of more than 2 meters like the Magic Mountain. So he quickly praised Gunter. This time, he might coax Gaunt into making them the main force against Dawn. That's true. It's just a mere Dawn. If I didn't value you, Lord Bard, I would have let my eldest son Lewis come. I don't need to come in person at all. When Gunter said this, his face was almost raised to the sky. It could be seen that he despises the Ryan family, but the sparsely populated Ryan family seems to be almost no longer a family and is not seen by others. The above is also excusable. That is, I am really honored that you can come in person. Bud apologized and said to Gunter, after all, he has something to ask for now, and he can only accept what others say. Grown-ups. Bud's entourage came to Bud's side in a panic and whispered to him in Bud's ear. After confirming that it was the Magic Mountain, although Bud already had a premonition in his heart, it was still a bit hard to accept the accurate news. After all, the Magic Mountain was an elite he had cultivated for many years. As the saying goes, it's good to raise a soldier for 1,000 days. Use it for a while, and it will be used immediately, but he is already dead when he is taken over. Bud really can't accept it. But now that the members of the Egan family have come, they have no choice but to rely on Gunter and his two sons. Master Bud, what happened? Who is the person who died in front? Gunter asked Bud now. It's nothing. Maybe passers-by around here got drunk and got into a fight and died. Come on, clean up the road, and let's continue on our way. Naturally, Bard would not tell Gunter that the person who died was his most proud subordinate. Soon a few soldiers carried the body of Magic Mountain and threw it aside, and then Bud led the troops to continue to Sagos. At this time, Martin, who was in Sagos, also got the news that Bud led the troops to Sagos, and he was scratching his head and didn't know what to do. Father, according to the news ahead, they're all wearing armor. It is obvious that they're going to rebel. Let's hurry up and get ready to fight. Gallaty said to Martin from aside, what I'm most worried about now is the young master. He hasn't heard from him for so long. I'm worried that he will run into Bard's troops by chance. That would be bad. Martin said to Gallaty, my third brother is the son of destiny with divine power. How could something happen to him? Don't worry, father. Villian comforted the anxious Martin. I hope so. Now we'd better get ready before we talk. Bud's menacing appearance is definitely not for fun. Should we release Kylida now? Maybe Bud can let us live. Before Martin finished speaking, Malifu walked into their room. "We'll let you in," Wylian said to Malifu angrily. Now Bud is leading a sufficient combat force, and it is less than 100 miles away from Sagos. "I am anxious." Malifu walked to Martin's side and said hello to Martin. "Master Malifu thinks that if we let Kylida go because of Bad's temper, will he let us go?" Martin asked Malifudo. "Of course not." Malifu replied with a smile. "Then you talk so much." Wylian pouted and gave Malifu a white look. "So, I have come to bid Lord Martin farewell." Malifu stated the purpose of his trip. "Farewell? Now that we are in crisis, you actually want to leave? Have you forgotten what you said before?" Galadi questioned Malifudeo. "Of course I haven't forgotten. It's just that the person I'm working with is Master Jason. Now Master Jason is not in Sagos at all, and I have no power to restrain the chicken. What's the use of staying here?" Malifu spread his hands and said to Galadi helplessly, "You coward!" Wylian yelled loudly after hearing Malifu's words. "Villian, forget it, Mr. Malifu. You can leave as soon as you want. This is your freedom." Martin said to Malifu, "Farewell. Take care." Malifu left Sagos without any hesitation. "Father, why did you let him go like this?" Villian pouted and asked Martin. "The tree falls and the monkeys scatter. This is the way of the world. Whether he is present or not has no effect on us. Let's go," Martin said to Villian calmly. "Let's go to the city wall and see what Bard wants to do." As Martin spoke, he took the lead and walked out. Galactica and Villian are close behind. The three of them soon arrived at the gate of Sagos. Og is directing the soldiers to close the city gate. "Master Og, how far is Bard's troops from us?" Martin came to Og's side and asked. "I have seen Mr. Martin. 10 minutes ago, the spies I sent reported that Bard was less than 20 miles away from our Sagos. It is estimated that he will arrive here in a few minutes. If you want to escape, sir, hurry up, there should be time." Og said to Martin. "Escape? Haha, why are we running away?" Martin laughed. Ever since Kylida took the position of city lord, he has been secretly sending Sagos resources, food, and grass to Zuo for his father. At this time, Sagos troops are basically only old, weak, sick, and disabled. "We don't have much food left. If Bard comes to take Sagos by force, we won't be able to withstand it at all." Og said to Martin, "Why is Lord Og so sure that Bard is here to take Sagos by force? What if he had something to discuss with Lord Dawn and just passed by here?" Martin asked Ogdo. "In such a small place in our southern border, the journey from Chezuo to Zorn City is only a dozen hours away. It will be faster to ride a horse. If Gobad has no other intentions, it is worth bringing 110 people. And are they all in full armor? And I heard they have the banner of the Egan family in their ranks." Og smiled wryly and said to Martin, Og himself has made up his mind to fight Bud. "Yeah, Bud's intentions are indeed as obvious as Master Og said." As Martin spoke, he walked towards the city wall. Martin walked onto the city wall, looked at the dust kicked up by the horses' hooves in the distance, and said to himself with mixed feelings, "It seems that my worries are really going to come true today." "My lord, are you sure you don't want to leave?" Og confirmed to Martin that if Martin really doesn't leave, he will close the city gate. Although he blocks Bard, he can resist it. "Don't go. I'm here to buy time to prepare for Lord Dawn. Galadi, give me that sword. It's time for my old bones to move," Martin said to Galadi behind him. After hearing Martin's words, Galadi took off the saber from his waist and handed it to Martin. "Song." Martin took the sword, quickly pulled out the sword from the scabbard, and looked at it carefully. "Come here, bring a pair of armor for Lord Martin," Og said to his subordinates, who were very suitable. Soon, with the help of a group of people, Martin put on a brand new set of armor. His long beard fluttered in the wind. With the thick walls of Sagos, he looked like an old man with aspirations for thousands of miles, and a strong man with great ambitions in his old age. Endless courage. At this time, Dawn, who was far away from the city of Zorn, also received a message from Sagos with a flying pigeon. Knowing the news that Bud was about to rebel, he immediately ordered his men to prepare horses and rushed to Sago's. Martin took Galati and others to stand on the tall Sago's tower and watched Bud approach him little by little. "Master Bud, you are fully armed. Are you going there to eliminate bandits?" Martin condescendingly greeted Bud, who had already arrived at the gate of the city. "Uh-huh. Mr. Martin is really stable. He's so good. Why don't you open the skylight to me? Can't you see that I'm here for you?" Bud bluntly said to Martin, his eyes full of contempt. "Bud, Lord Dawn has treated you kindly. He has always treated you kindly. If you do this, won't your conscience hurt?" Martin questioned Bud out. "Don't do this with me, old things. It doesn't work for me. Now that you know the purpose of my coming, you should quickly open the city gate and surrender obediently. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude." Bud yelled at Martin with an annoyed look on his face. Martin ignored Bar and looked directly at Gunter next to him. He took a careful look at the flag behind him and confirmed that they were members of the Egan family. "You, the Egan family, are helping Bard to seize the position recognized by the king as the Lord of the South. Aren't you afraid that King Carter will find out and punish you?" "Haha. King Carter recognized that the Ryan family ruled the southern border, but he didn't designate that person from the Ryan family. Besides, Don raised his troops and killed his uncle back then, so he would commit the most disrespectful thing in the future. What qualifications do you have to continue to be the king of the South? The person next to me is the one who deserves to be the king of the South," Gunnar said with reason. "You are turning black and white." Martin scolded Gunnar angrily. "Haha. In this era, whoever has strength is white." After Gunnar finished speaking, he waved gently to his son Bobby behind him. Bobby chuckled, took the sledgehammer handed to him by the soldier beside him, let out his armed anger, stepped on the horse's back, leaped high, gliding in the air, and arrived at the gate of Sago's city. Holding the sledgehammer tightly with both hands, the veins on his arms popped. "What?" Bobby directly hit the thick city gate of Sargos with a hammer. The city gate of Sagos, which had been in disrepair for a long time, was crumbling with Bobby's hammer. "It's just a B-rank anger master, father. Let me go down and meet him." Galati looked at the yellow-armed anger on Bobby and felt that he should be able to defeat him. "Wait a minute. There's another powerful person. We'd better not act rashly." Martin stared behind Gaunt and said the young man with a calm face. This young man was Gunter's eldest son, Lewis. Behind Gaunt, he didn't speak, just observed everything lazily, as if it had nothing to do with him. It was this seemingly inconspicuous and unremarkable Lewis who was valued by Martin. With years of experience in previous battles, Martin felt that this Lewis was definitely a very difficult guy to deal with. Maybe even if they lost today, maybe it was lost in the hands of this Lewis. In the Egan family, Bobby Egan, a B-rank anger master, "Does anyone dare to fight me?" Bobby at the gate of the city slammed the gate of Sagos heavily with the hammer in his hand a few times and then shouted at Martin and others. "What? Is the southern border really miserable like this? No one dares to challenge me, even as a B-rank anger master? If so, I think you should hurry up and let your bastard Dawn hand over the throne bar." Bobby yelled for a long time and saw that no one paid any attention to him, and then started the insulting mode. "You bastard! Stop talking nonsense. I'm going to find your teeth all over the floor," Karate said, pulling out a sword from the waist of a soldier next to him and rushing down to meet Bobby for a while. Suddenly a hand was on his shoulder and grabbed him. Galati looked back to see Og. "Leave it to me. The people of Sagos will be guarded by me." Og said a word, let out his anger, and jumped off the high city wall. Stepping on the city wall at 90 degrees all the way, it landed lightly on the ground. "Boy, I think you're not very old, and the wild words you let out are not small." OG stared at Bobby and said with a smile, "Whether it's arrogance or not, you'll know after you try it." Bobby charged at Og with his sledgehammer. Og also immediately released his armed anger, drew out his saber, and rushed towards Bobby. The two sides fought each other back and forth, and separated after more than a dozen rounds. Boys are all a bit brute force, but that's all you have. The rest is really not that good. Og pursed his lips, shook his head, and said, "Stop talking big here, my lord. I haven't shown my true abilities yet." The young and frivolous Bobby couldn't bear Og's provocation and rushed towards Og with one stride and fought with Og again. Just as the Sagos fight was in full swing, Jason in the forest hut of the cat Viper suddenly woke up. Jason looked at the surrounding environment in panic. There was a hint of familiarity in the strangeness, as if he really wanted to be here. How could he be here? Jason sat up puzzled. You kid finally woke up. Cat Viper wielded his beard and came to Jason with a smile on his face. Master Cat Viper? Why am I here? Jason saw the Cat Viper and immediately recalled that this was the forest cabin of the Cat Viper. You were knocked unconscious. I just passed by and rescued you. Cat Viper said to Jason. What? What about the mountain? Where's Marty? Jason immediately asked Mal Viper. Don't worry, that magic mountain is dead, so don't worry about it. Cat Viper patted Jason on the head with a smile and said, Dead? What about Marty? Jason kept asking some questions to make up for the lack of memory after he passed out. Cat Viper was stunned when Jason asked Marty. He didn't know how to tell Jason that Marty had died. After all, Jason had just woken up, and Cat Viper really didn't want Jason Hassan was stimulated. What happened to him? Did he kill the magic mountain after I passed out? I knew that kid would not just watch me get killed like that. Jason guessed by himself, but when he saw the Cat Viper frowning, he knew that this matter might not be as simple as he thought. So he also put away his smile. Master Cat Viper, what happened to Maddie? Jason had already guessed something from the expression. That lad is an excellent follower. Cat Viper silently lowered his head, not looking directly at Jason. What? Mr. Cat Viper, can you explain it clearly? Tell me, I can't resist. Jason gritted his teeth and said, Now is not the time for you to be depressed, because I have a bigger bad news to tell you. If you can't hold on to the death of a brother, how can you let me have the heart to tell you? Cat Viper suddenly had a seizure, rushed over, and pulled Jason, who was sitting on the bed with his head down. What could be worse than the death of my brother-in-law, because of my passion? Jason's eyes were red, and he stared at the Cat Viper with regret and said, in his heart, he believed that Marty's death was entirely caused by him. If he hadn't insisted on looking for the mountain, Marty would not have died. Sorry, really, you have been forgotten. You still have 2 partners in Sagos, and your father is in Zorn City, and now Bard has joined forces with the Egan family in the west to move towards the 2 somewhere. Cat Viper let go of Jason, walked aside, and said, What? When did it happen? Jason was startled at once, and immediately rushed to the Cat Viper and asked, Not long after you were fighting the Magic Mountain, it is estimated that Bard has arrived in Sagos by now. Cat Viper said to Jason, Why didn't you tell me earlier? No, I'm going to save them. Jason said, and was about to leave. Cat Viper grabbed Jason by the collar from behind and pulled him back. Just like you, going there is completely death, and you want to save people. Cat Viper hit Jason directly. They're facing a catastrophe. I have already lost a good brother. I can't just watch Galati and Villian sacrificed. Even if they're going to die, I will die with them. Since coming to this world, Jason has also experienced true friendship, which made him experience how lucky it is to have a sincere friend. So he has forgotten his comfort at this moment, just like being with them together. You have this extraordinary divine power. Now the Ryan family is in decline. Bud has turned against your father. The future of the Ryan family is on you, so you can't die easily. Do you understand? Cat Viper persuaded Jason, but he still agreed with Jason's thoughts in his heart. He had experienced the feeling of losing a brother who was born and died. If he hadn't considered what Coton told him before he left, he would have let him go immediately. Jason went, But I know they are in danger, but I don't do anything. Do you understand how much I suffer like this? Jason said to Cat Viper. Cat Viper looked at Jason's anxious expression, and the last persistence in his heart was finally broken. MD, never mind. I've been hiding for so long, and it's time to make a big fuss. Let's go. Let's go together. As the Cat Viper said, he called his lion and ran towards Sagos with Jason. Villian, Galati, you must persevere. I'll come right away. Jason thought to himself that he had never been so eager to see Villian and Galati before. On the other side, in front of the city gate of Sargos, Og and Bobby fought for nearly 100 rounds, but the winner was still undecided. Until the moment when Bobby held the sledgehammer in both hands and swung at Og. Og finally found the opening, lowered his head to avoid Bobby's attack, clung to his body, and quickly approached Bobby, coming in front of Bobby, bent his arm to point at Bobby's chin, and hit an elbow straight up. Since Bobby was still holding a heavy sledgehammer in both hands, he had no time to defend, so he could only take Og's elbow. Because the distance between the two was too close, the weapons of both sides could not be used at all. Both sides immediately threw away the weapons in their hands and started hand-to-hand combat. But Og is obviously rich in experience, and it is still very easy to deal with Bobby, who is stunned. He knocked Bobby to the ground with a powerful sweeping leg, and quickly pulled out. He grabbed the dagger at his waist and pressed it against Bobby's neck. "You're still too young." Og looked at Bobby and said with a smile. Bobby, who was holding the dagger to his throat, did not dare to act rashly. After all, both of them are B-rank anger masters. Og's dagger with this armed anger is going to stab his throat. Needless to say, he will definitely burp. Up. Good. Nice job. Villian cheered when she saw that Og had won. "Master Gunter, what do you think should be done?" Bud asked Gunter in a lively tone. Gunter gave Bud a blank look, ignored him, and said directly to Lewis behind him, "Aren't you going to save her, brother?" "Yes, Lord Father." Lewis agreed, opened his dim eyes, and stared at Og with a cold, murderous look, which instantly turned into a red light. Og sensed a murderous aura attacking him with perceived anger, and quickly stood up, but before he had time to react, a cold knife had already sliced across his throat. "Some." With a crisp sound of retracting the knife into its sheath, Og fell to the ground and became a corpse. "What?" Wylian was taken aback by the sudden bloody scene. So fast, Galati couldn't help but exclaimed. He didn't see how Lewis came to Og's side at all. "It's over this guy Galati. Take Villian away." Martin called out to Galati at once. Although it is said that everyone's anger level in Cardeas continent is innate, but the natural anger level cannot represent everything. Everyone's talent for using anger is also different, and the same level is also divided into grades, 6 grades. And this Lewis, he felt that he was the top-class ill-level anger master, so Martin didn't hesitate to let Galati take Villian away quickly. "Then what do you do?" Galati asked Martin. "Don't ask so many questions, it will be too late." Martin said anxiously to Galati. "Haha, I'm afraid it's too late." While Martin and the others were talking, Lewis had unknowingly stepped on the city wall and quickly climbed onto the city wall. Lewis lightly waved the knife in his hand a few times, and a dozen soldiers near Martin, it has been instantly killed. Martin was anxious, drew his sword and stabbed at Lewis. Before he rushed to Lewis, he did not forget to push Carity to let him run away. But Martin couldn't stop Lewis at all. Lewis sideways avoided Martin's attack and clamped the sword that Martin stabbed. Lewis looked at Martin with a ghostly smile, intensified the anger on his 2 fingers, and snapped them hard. There was a crisp sound of metal breaking, and Lewis broke the sword in Martin's hand into 2 pieces, turned around, and inserted the piece in his hand into Martin's abdomen. Puff! The broken sword sank deeply into Martin's body, and blood spattered all over the ground. Lewis took advantage of the situation and slapped Martin's shoulder heavily again. The powerful force directly made Martin kneel heavily on the ground. "Father!" Seeing his father being knocked to the ground in the blink of an eye, Galati could bear it and rushed towards Lewis immediately. Lewis smiled slightly, letting out his anger, and suddenly disappeared the moment Galactica came in front of him. Galactica heard a crisp sound of a sword being unsheathed, and his thigh was already used by Lewis, who appeared behind him. His thin scimitar was pierced. Ah! Severe pain immediately hit Karate, who fell to the ground in pain. Lewis slowly raised his head and looked at the frightened Wei Lian. "Do you still want to resist?" Wei Lian immediately reacted, her heart froze, and she touched the 2 daggers on her waist with both hands. Lewis also noticed Villian's actions and came to Villian's side in an instant, leaned into Villian's ear, and said to Villian, "I really can't bear to hurt you, such a beautiful beauty." As soon as Lewis finished speaking, A palm landed on Villian's neck, and Villian fell into a coma in a trance, which he still wants to resist. Lewis put one arm around the unconscious Villian, turned around, and asked the soldiers. The leaders were defeated one by one, and the soldiers naturally lost their fighting spirit. They all put down their weapons and surrendered to Lewis. In less than 10 minutes, the gate of Sagos was breached by Lewis alone. Lewis opened the city gate himself and leaned lazily on the city gate, waiting for Bud and his father Gunter to lead the troops in. "How about it? Is my son all right?" Gunter proudly showed off to Bud. That is, your son is really extraordinary." Bud was a bit ugly. The strength shown by Lewis gave him a sense of crisis. Maybe even if he became the king of the southern border, he was destined to be trampled under by the Egan family. When Bud and his party entered the city, the first thing Bud did was to release Kylida. During these days in the dungeon, Kylida had grown a long beard, and her hair was also messy. At first glance, she thought she was a homeless man from there. "Father, you are finally here." Kylida came to the main hall of the city lord and said to Bud happily, "Well, this is Lord Gaunt, the younger brother of the king of the Western Territory, and his 2 sons. They will help us seize the southern territory from your uncle this time." Bud introduced to Kylida. "Kylida has met Lord Gunter." Kylida saluted Gaunt. After greeting Gunter, Kylida noticed the Martin family kneeling next to them, but did not see Jason, who made him hate him so much that he asked Bud, "Where's that guy, Jason? What should I do? Didn't see him? And the traitor Malifaux? I still have to settle the score with him." "They are no longer in the city. They may have fled." Bud said to Kylida calmly, "Father, how could you let those 2 guys escape? The reason why I am in such a mess is because of them. How could you let them escape?" Kylida said with some dissatisfaction, "They're not important. The most important thing for us at the moment is to seize the southern territory and get rid of Dowan. Do I still need to be distracted by your trivial matters? Go and tidy up your appearance quickly." The disheveled thought, "What's it like?" Bud was a little annoyed by Kylida's question, so he yelled at Kylida unhappily. Kylida saw that Bud was already angry, and he didn't dare to say anything more. His eyes suddenly stayed on Villian, and suddenly he became lustful and said to a soldier beside him, "Get this woman, send it to my room. I want to enjoy it." After finishing speaking, Kylida stared at Wylian and licked her lips, then turned and left. After Kylida left, Bud came to Martin's side and said to Martin with a smile, "Old man, I still remember the time you kept persuading my good brother to deprive me of my power." Martin raised his head proudly and looked at Bud and responded to him, "So what if you remember? I tell you, even if you sit on the seat of the king of the South, it won't be warm. You are not the material at all." Snap! Bud directly slapped Martin's face heavily without warning. "Father, Bud, you traitor, come at me if you dare." Gallaty yelled at Bud with red eyes. "Don't interrupt the children when adults talk. You are not qualified to talk to me." Bard raised his face and said to Gallaty with a slanderous expression, "Bud, if you want to kill or cut to death, don't act like a woman here." Martin spat out the blood from his mouth and tremblingly said to Bud, "Okay, you are a senior. Since the senior has proposed, then I can only recruit." Bud said, pulling out the sword from his waist and piercing Martin's heart directly, "Father, father." Colradi and Villian watched helplessly as their father died in front of them, and each of them cried. Bud indifferently pulled out his saber from Martin's heart, wiped off the blood on Martin's body, and inserted it into the scabbard. "First, hang Martin and that corpse named Og on the city wall. Go up to the public, and by the way, put these 2 Owen family members into the dungeon first." "Yes, that's right, Lord Bud. Young Master Kylida said that we should send this girl to his room, you see." The soldier asked Buddow in a low voice, "Follow it, as long as that kid Kylida doesn't cause anything to happen to me." Bud said to the soldier, "Yes." The soldier agreed, and then called a few helpers. Some of them pushed Gallaty into the dungeon, and some of them sent Villian to Kylida's room. "Master Gunter, let's take a rest here tonight, and we will make plans for the future tomorrow. How do you think?" Bud asked Gunter with a smile. "Well, we've been running around for a day, and we said we haven't fought any battles, but we're tired, so it's good to have a rest. Gunter said to Bud with a smile. Well, come here, arrange some good rooms for Mr. Gunter and the others. On the other side, Cat Viper led Jason to ride a lion all the way to the vicinity of Sagos without stopping, hiding behind a mound of dirt. The corpses of Martin and Og hanging on the city wall were undoubtedly. On the other side, Cat Viper led Jason to ride a lion all the way to the vicinity of Sagos without stopping, hiding behind a mound of dirt. The corpses of Martin and Og hanging on the city wall were undoubtedly stimulating Jason's nerves. Jason walked toward Sagos without hesitation, and the Cat Viper brought Jason back. Boy, what are you doing? I'm going to find Galati and Villian. Jason anxiously said to the Cat Viper. It is obvious that Sargos has been captured, and he is now quite worried about the comfort of Galati and Villian. I know you're in a hurry, but we shouldn't be too reckless if we're in a hurry. You're going to die like this. We have to think of a countermeasure to sneak in. After the Cat Viper comforted Jason, he took a closer look. There were not many guard posts on the city wall. We need to find a way to get rid of those guards first. Leave this to me. Jason said that he released his armed anger, pulled out a porcupine quill from his waist, and then released the perceived anger to improve his aim, and injected enough armed anger into the porcupine quill with all his strength, throwing it at a guard on the city wall. The porcupine quill turned into a red flash, flew over quickly, and accurately stabbed the guard's neck, and the guard fell down immediately. Jason didn't give the other guards time to escape, and quickly threw 3 porcupine quills, knocking them all to the ground. When Cat Viper saw Jason's move, he was also very surprised. He didn't think that Jason still had such abilities. What kind of weapon is this? This is a hidden weapon I made from the porcupine quills of the porcupine we killed that time. Jason explained to Cat Viper. Hidden weapon? Cat Viper frowned and repeated, there is no concept of hidden weapons in the Cardeas continent. This method can only be called a dirty trick here. Relying on his familiarity with Sagos, Jason easily slipped into Sagos with Cat Viper. On the other side, Cardeas smiled comfortably, shaved off her long beard, trimmed her hair, wore a loose nightgown, and looked at Wei Lian, who was tied up and sitting opposite him with a wicked smile. Wei Lian was still in the grief of her father's death. She was in a daze with her hair lowered, and her tears had all dried up. Cardeas picked up a glass of wine, took a sip, then shook the glass and said to Villian, Little beauty, do you want to have dinner with me now? Villian raised her head to look at Cardeas, gritted her teeth, and said to Cardeas, Seeing your disgusting face makes me want to gag. How can I eat anything? Ha ha! Your mouth is quite stinky. You have to eat this meal today, and you have to eat it if you don't eat it. How can you have the strength to serve me if you are not full? Cardeas came to Villian's side with a lewd smile and reached out to caress Villian's face. Wei Lian didn't let Cardeas touch her face, but turned her head and bit Cardeas' hand. After the unsuspecting Cardeas was bitten, she immediately wanted to withdraw her hand, but Villian held on tightly to his hand. Cardeas had no choice but to pull hard, and even pulled Villian, who was tied to the chair, to the ground. Cardeas' hand was also bitten off by Wei Lian. Cardeas was furious immediately, grabbed Wei Lian's hair, and pulled Wei Lian up. You bitch! See how I will make your life worse than death. Bah! Villian spat the bloody flesh bitten off from Cardeas' hand onto Cardeas' face. Now, Cardeas couldn't take it anymore, and slapped Villian heavily. This slap directly made Wei Lian's ear buzz on one side, and blood flowed from the corner of her mouth. Cardeas pulled Villian's hair again to make Villian face him, and squeezed Villian's chin tightly with her hand. I tell you, if you don't have dinner with me tonight, the wall hanging on the city wall, Old Man Martin, is not the only one in the Owen family. What do you mean? Wei Lian looked at Cardeas weakly and asked. Cardeas laughed after hearing Wei Lian's words. What do you mean? Can't you hear it? Now your brother's life is in your hands. Whether he lives or dies depends on your performance tonight. Gone. After Cardeas finished speaking, she tugged at Villian's hair and pulled it aside forcefully, causing Villian to fall heavily to the ground. Think about it carefully. I will give you half an hour to think about it. I will prepare dinner outside. Come out and find me when you think about it. Untie her for me. You'd better not think about running away. After all, your brother can't escape. Kylida stood on the ground and finished talking with Villian, then turned and left. After Kylida left, a soldier came over and untied Villian's rope. Wei Lian was lying on the ground with tears in her eyes. She didn't know what to choose now. She knew that if she agreed to Kylida's request, it meant that she would sell her body, but she had no choice. She couldn't for her own dignity. She let her brother be murdered. As the sun went down, Bud was having a meal with Gunter and his sons elegantly. "Master Bud, where's your son? Why didn't you see him coming?" Gunter swallowed the mistake in his mouth, wiped his mouth with a handkerchief, and asked Bud out. "Isn't he locked in the prison and just come out?" "Naturally. He has to release himself. Don't worry about him, Mr. Gunter. Just eat well," Bud said to Gunter casually. "Oh, it's really a pity." Lewis, who was sitting aside, sighed. Bud heard Lewis' exclamation, so he looked at Lewis and asked, "What's the pity?" Lewis flicked his hair and continued, "I mean, it's a pity that such a beautiful girl is going to be kicked by a pig." Snapped. After listening to Lewis' words, Bud slapped the tableware in his hand on the table heavily. "Isn't that a little too much?" As Bud spoke, he glanced at Gunter next to him, and Bud could tell that Lewis was obviously talking about his son, and Bud couldn't help but not attack after bullying his face. Gunter, on the other hand, slowly swallowed the food in his mouth, wiped his mouth, stood up, and said to Bud, "I'm sorry, my son is like this. For those who are weaker than him, I just like all kinds of dislikes and insults. Lord Bud, don't be like a child." After hearing what Gunter said, Bud immediately became angry. Gunter obviously meant to look down on him, and Bud silently reached for the... Lewis also noticed Bud's actions and smiled faintly. "Master Bud, I advise you to think carefully and focus on the overall situation. You must know that we pinch you as easily as pinching ants." My lord is not good. Don and his men are already approaching the city." Just when he was nervous, a soldier suddenly ran in and said to Bud, What did you do long ago? And you didn't report until you reached the gate of the city." Bud scolded the soldier. "Our guards were all killed at some point. We didn't know until we heard the shouts outside the city." The soldier said to Bud timidly, "Why don't you panic? Just come here. This way we can save ourselves from running to Zorn's city and get to know him here, so we can go back sooner." Gaunt stood up immediately as he spoke. "Then let's go. Tell all our troops to prepare for battle, and call Kylida, by the way." Bud ordered his men to be humane. "No need. As the saying goes, a good spring night is worth 1,000 gold. Lord Bart, don't bother him. Just let us go." Lewis stood up with a half-smile, picked up his weapon, and said to Bud, "Then let's go." Bud saw what Lewis said, so he didn't say anything. After all, he didn't want his son to go out and fight for his life. If Lewis was destined to be the protagonist in this battle to Dawn, Lewis and Dawn would probably be the only ones among them. Have a strength to fight. Jason and Mal Viper, who were already lurking in the city, saw Bud leading a group of people towards the gate of the city, but they didn't know what happened. It's already night. Don't they plan to continue attacking Zorn City now? Jason hit on an eaves and asked the cat Viper beside him. "No, it shouldn't be. You see, there's still lights in the castle, and there should be some people left." Cat Viper carefully observed the situation of the castle and said, "Then what are they going to do in such a big battle?" Jason was puzzled. "It's not easy. There are not many people in the castle now. Let's just go down and arrest someone and ask if it's okay." Cat Viper jumped off the eaves and sneaked into the castle as he said that. Jason followed immediately. The two sneaked into the castle. Just as a few patrolling soldiers passed by them, Jason went out and blocked their way. "Who?" The yawning guards in a trance were startled by Jason's sudden appearance and immediately raised their weapons. "That's what I should ask you. I am the master of Sagos." After finishing speaking, Jason vented his anger, pulled out the lion hunter from his waist, raised his knife and dropped it, and quickly eliminated these soldiers, leaving only one alive. The only living soldier saw that his companions were all eliminated by Jason in an instant. He threw away the weapon in his hand in fright and knelt on the ground. "Hero, spare me, spare me. I don't know anything." "Don't know anything? We didn't think you would know anything to spare you. Since you said you didn't know anything, Jason should kill him. The cat viper came out, teasing the soldier with playfulness, and said, No, I know. I'll tell you what you want to know. I don't want to die. After hearing what the cat viper said, the soldier quickly changed his words. Well, let me ask you, what are Bud and the others doing at the gate of the city in the middle of the night? Cat viper asked the soldier. That dawn is here. Lord Bard and the others went to the city gate to fight him to the death. The soldier answered Mal Viper honestly. What? My father is here. Jason said excitedly. Don't worry. Shouldn't we rescue your partners first? Cat Viper comforted Jason to calm him down. Jason also remembered and immediately grabbed the soldier by his collar and pulled him up from the ground. Say, where are Galati and the others now? He's being held in a dungeon now. As soon as the soldier finished speaking, the cat viper directly broke the soldier's neck. Do you know where the dungeon is? No. As Jason said, he quickly rushed to the dungeon with the cat viper. In order to fight Dawn, Bard transferred almost all the soldiers he could mobilize. Even if they couldn't provide much combat power, they could at least increase their momentum. So the dungeon is left unattended at all these days. When Jason and Viper Cat came near the dungeon, they heard Kyloda's heart-piercing cry. Let me out. Kyloda, if you dare to touch my sister, I will tear you to pieces. Galati slammed on the prison door and shouted loudly. This is Galati. Hearing Galati's voice, Jason was very excited and immediately followed the voice to find it. They quickly found Galati, who was tied to a pillar with thick iron chains. The wound on his thigh was poorly bandaged, and blood was still oozing from it. Young master, you're finally back, young master. Galati saw Jason coming in front of him and said excitedly, We'll talk about this later. I'll talk about it first, and you'll come down. Stay away. As Jason spoke, he pulled out the hunting lion, poured armed anger into the hunting lion, grasped the strength, and cut off the iron chain on Galati. It made you suffer. Does your injury matter? Jason asked Galactic Road. No, these are not important. Young master, go, and save Wei Li and go. Galati said anxiously to Jason. At this time, Villian was biting the bullet to accompany Kyloda for dinner for Galati's comfort. You said that as long as I eat with you, you will not hurt my brother. I hope you will keep your word. Wylian sat on the seat opposite Kyloda and said to Kyloda, Oh, that's not what I said. What I said was that you should be obedient and serve me. Kyloda looked at Wylian's body with a lewd smile on her face. Kyloda's gaze made Villian feel uncomfortable. Well, as long as you don't hurt my brother, I promise you. Kyloda took a sip of the fine wine in his hand. Of course, as long as you make me happy and comfortable, I will never touch him. After receiving Kyloda's answer, Wei Lian became ruthless and ate the food with big mouthfuls. At this time, she could no longer taste any taste, and she only wanted to save her brother. No matter how good the food was, there is no taste in my mouth. Seeing Wei Lian's ugly eating appearance, Kyloda lost the interest to continue eating and put down the wine glass in his hand. Don't eat it. Go wash it up quickly. We will go directly to the next link. Although Wei Lian had already prepared her heart, when it really came to this time, she still felt a little bit in her heart. But for the sake of her brother, she had no choice.